We speak car. We speak the all-new Ford Taurus.
John Miller, Joe Morgan, and Steve Phillips from Yankee Stadium in the last two games. And those last two games were not just none for Extra last couple of days here in New York. Red Sox batting order presented by Taco Bell. Jacoby Ellsbury in center field. Dustin Pedroia at second base. Victor Martinez in from Cleveland is at first base. Slugging switch hitter Kevin Youkilis bats cleanup at third base. David Ortiz, you'll notice, is out of the lineup. Jason Bay struggling with a bad hamstring, just back in there for the first time in the series in left field. J.D. Drew is in right field. Mike Lowell with a hip problem, but he's in there nonetheless, the designated hitter. Jason Varitek, the catcher, and Nick Green is at shortstop, batting ninth. And Jed Lowry, the young shortstop who was supposed to be the starting shortstop this year, and he is back down with another injury. And here's Andy Pettitte on the hill, 9-6, and those numbers have been getting better and better. True to his form as being an outstanding second half pitcher.
Well, John, he's pitched great the second half, but he's only had one victory to show for it. But he has a 2.36 earned run average, and he's also lowered the opponent's batting average to 211. But what's made him better the second half, he's gone back to using his cutter a little bit more than he was in the first half.
Since the All-Star break, just the one win, but a 2.36 earned run average. It's a very muggy night here in the Bronx, but again, a big storm that appeared to be headed in this direction veered off to the south of us. So we're ready to play ball right on time. The Yankees and the Red Sox. And that's a called strike.
And that's a high strike.
Now, Bill Miller, the home plate umpire tonight, is a guy who is a pitcher's umpire. He tends to expand the zone, particularly away from the hitter.
That's inside.
Down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jacoby Ellsbury is hitting .302, 6 home runs, 36 batted in, and he is the only Red Sox hitter to have had any success the last 2 nights at all. He's had 4 of the team's 8 hits in those 2 games. Over a 24-inning period, just the 8 hits for Boston. A curveball to Teixeira, takes it himself.
Take a look at the New York Yankees defensively, a team that's improved from a year ago. And they go around the outfield. Johnny Damon in left field. And Melky Cabrera really covers a lot of ground out in center field. One of the better arms you're going to see. Nick Swisher in right. Around the infield, Alex Rodriguez DHing today. So Jerry Hairston getting the call at third base. Derek Jeter and his 3 Gold Gloves at short. Robinson Cano at second base. And Mark Teixeira, the guy who's changed the infield defense here at first. And Jorge Posada, who's throwing like the Jorge Posada of the past behind the plate.
Dustin Pedroia. And the curveball in there for a called strike. Pedroia got a pitch over his head, then got hit with a pitch in that blowout loss here on Thursday, which prompted a lot of discussion. And then Alex Rodriguez got hit twice yesterday, although the first one was a curveball. Fastball, a little too tight from Pettitte. A ball and a strike now.
Well, the interesting thing on Thursday when Pedroia got hit, it wasn't 2 pitches in a row. That first ball went over his head, and then the count went to 2-2, and then he got hit. So it wasn't, in my opinion, as if they were throwing at him.
And that is inside. Well, this is Thursday night, the incident with Pedroia.
All right, now watch this next pitch, though, John. He dives into the plate, and he doesn't have a way of getting out. See, he just dives in. There's no way he can move out of the way. And a lot of hitters are like that now. They're going into the plate, and there's no way they can get out of the way.
Right on the outside corner from Pettitte after working everything to the inside in the at-bat, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And Steve, when you were talking about the defense, I have to tell you the most improved player out there is Robinson Cano. He is now one of the better second basemen defensively in the American League.
In right field, Swisher. 2 down.
I mean, he has such a great, quick arm. I mean, that's what's so important for me. He's only made 3 errors this year, 4 this year at second base, second fewest in the American League. And by contrast, Pedroia has 6 errors. Polanco, of course, set a major league record for errorless games by a second baseman, so he's in good company there.
I was going to say, Polanco has 2 errors already.
Yeah, what's he doing? He got to bear down a little bit.
But I think you'll see the difference in the way that Cano plays with confidence now.
Victor Martinez and a curveball in there for a strike. Victor Martinez, a big pickup for the Red Sox, who felt like they needed to bolster their offense a little bit. And with the events of the last 2 days in particular, you can certainly see why. Even with Martinez, they've been shut down. 3 for 10 lifetime against Andy Pettitte. And he crowds him with that fastball off the inside.
The Martinez pickup is a huge pickup. They're struggling to score runs offensively, but what it really is, it's the counter to the free agent signing of Mark Teixeira from the New York Yankees this past offseason. The Red Sox were in on it, got outbid by the Yankees.
And he crowds him again with that cut fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And Victor Martinez, a guy who really, I think, as a switch hitter, is that offensive complement to Teixeira. The big difference is the defense. Now, the one thing he does, where he doesn't defend the same as Teixeira, he does give versatility to the Terry Francona and to Theo Epstein as they start to plan this season and move forward next year.
Yeah, he can play first base. I mean, he can do a lot of different things, but he's mostly a good hitter.
A genuine, proven big league run producer, Victor Martinez. His last full season, the year before last, the year that Cleveland was just 1 win away from going to the World Series and then could not win that 4th game in that best-of-7 with Boston in the League Championship Series. He drove in 114 runs. He hits 300. He drives in runs. He hits for power, and he hits well from either side of the plate.
And they say he's a great leader in the clubhouse, John. Great leadership ability.
And the slider in the dirt.
That's why people were surprised that the Indians would trade him, because it's hard to find leaders. We've had these discussions throughout the year.
Right.
It's very difficult to find a guy who is willing to take on that leadership role and then get rid of him.
And he was genuinely sad about leaving the Cleveland Indians, the only organization for which he had ever played.
He grew up there.
2-2 the count. Swisher toward the corner, has room, and that's the inning. 25 innings without a run consecutively for the Red Sox. Now John Lester to the hill. The Yankees, Derek Jeter coming up. Sunday night baseball from Yankee Stadium, New York. The Red Sox without a run. They have not scored since Thursday night. Derek Jeter getting ready to bat now against the young Boston ace, the left-handed ace, John Lester. Yankee batting order presented by Taco Bell. Derek Jeter hitting particularly well, hitting well overall, but particularly well against left-handed pitching. Shortstop Johnny Damon in left field. 20 home runs already for Damon. Mark Teixeira at first base, 28 home runs. Alex Rodriguez, who had the game-ending homer, the 15th here on Friday. He's the DH. Jorge Posada, the veteran catcher. Nick Swisher is in right field. He's got 18 homers. Robinson Cano at second base, hitting .314. Melky Cabrera hit for the cycle a few days ago. Center field, and Jerry Hairston, just acquired from Cincinnati before the trading deadline, at third base. And here is Lester to Jeter, and a fastball is off the inside for ball 1. We mentioned Jeter has been superb against left-handed pitching. Jeter for the season is hitting .425 against left-handers, and the Yankees as a team are hitting .295 against lefties. And so the Red Sox trying to go against the odds here anyway, with their lineup suffering, slumping, and their ball club in general playing poorly since the All-Star break and having lost 5 in a row. And now they got their young ace lefty on the hill, but against a team that has been feasting on left-handed hitters or left-handed pitchers, and Jeter takes the ball up and away.
Well, one of the reasons Jeter or any right-hander has success against left-handed pitching is because they stay in this zone. They hit the ball in this area here, and that's the way you stay on the ball against left-handed pitching, because the ball tailing away, you try to pull it, you hit weak ground balls the other side. So most of your hitters who are going to have success are going to stay back through the middle, left center to right center, and that's where the success rate comes in. And David Wright, who leads all of baseball hitting against left-handed pitching starting today, that's the way he hits. And the guys that are successful are the ones that stay back through the middle and the other way.
John Lester catches the outside, and Jeter didn't think so. And he won't score any points with the plate up by Bill Miller on that one.
Now, we talked about Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, where he does tend to be a pitcher's umpire, that the outer part of the plate, you can expand the zone. And you see Lester goes right to that corner. K-Zone says that it is, in fact, a strike. Derek Jeter, you were wrong. For once, you were wrong.
3-2 the count to Jeter. K-Zone agreed with Bill Miller, as you saw. Up the middle, base hit.
And that's why he's so successful against left-handed pitchers. He stays right there. And you watch the right-handers that pull the ball are the ones that are going to have a problem.
All right, take a look at John Lester on that pitch that he just threw there. And they set up inside on Derek Jeter. They went away for the strike and then came in and left it out over the heart of the plate. But you look at John Lester, 20 inside, and his success this year, but it's really been a tale of two seasons. I think the big key is you look at the opponent's batting average, that 207. We talk about the Yankees numbers against left-handed pitching. Well, this isn't any left-handed pitcher. This guy, John Lester, can shut down some of the best right-handers in the game.
Johnny Damon. And it's 0-1.
It'll be interesting to see how he pitches, to Johnny Damon and, of course, Robinson Cano, because those are the two left-handers in this and can hurt him in this ballpark with the fly ball to right field. We'll see if he throws him a lot of change-ups or curveballs.
You see, Damon has hurt Lester in the past.
Right.
He's done well against him. On the inside corner.
And I've said this a lot, John. I don't think left-handed pitchers throw enough curveballs to left-handed hitters to break their rhythm. They either try to pitch them inside hard or go away hard. I think if you can vary their rhythm by throwing a lot of curveballs, I think you can have more success against them.
Okay, well, maybe how about right now?
Well, I would say so, but
too late. I don't think Joe got the sign down there in time.
Went back
that's
to the inside with the fastball.
But he's got him set up right now for the curveball as well. He came in with that fastball there, and you see the splits for John Lester, and pretty even splits from both sides. You see those 13 home runs. He has not given up a home run in his last 8 starts. So we talk about Yankee Stadium, how the ball sails out of here, how some power from left-handed hitters. But Lester's been a guy that's been able to keep it in the ballpark.
But does 6 home runs with left-handers and only 143 at-bats compared to a lot more for the right-handers.
Lefties have hit him better than right-handers as a group. There's the curveball. That'll work. Although Derek Jeter has been moved up, a productive out for Johnny Damon.
But you can see right there how off balance Damon was. No, that's what I'm talking about. Left-handers throwing left-handed hitters curveball. The change of speed. You can get them 2 ways. You can get them with the speed, or you can get them with the break of the ball. He gets him with the speed right there. That ball's pretty much in the middle of the plate. But see, he's out in front, tries to slow his bat down, and all he can do is slap at it with his bottom hand. He even takes his top hand off. That's why I think you should mix in more curveballs to left-handed hitters.
So here is Mark Teixeira. Switch hitter, batting right-handed.
I think one of the reasons we look at the Yankees and their success this year against left-handed starting pitchers is the addition of Mark Teixeira, a switch hitter, and also you have the addition of Nick Swisher, a switch hitter as well. And the lefties that are in the lineup, Cano and Johnny Damon, handle left-handed pitching well themselves.
Teixeira has a home run in 9 previous at-bats against Lester. Jeter in scoring position, and the breaking ball in there for a called strike.
Now, when you look at Teixeira, he has a very unusual stance and a very unusual swing compared to most of your good hitters. He stays on his backside. His weight's on his backside, and it stays there throughout the swing. Most good hitters shift their weight. He does not, but he's still a good hitter. He does it in a different way, but he stays on that backside.
If you were giving him advice, would you say?
No, I wouldn't change anything. The guy's successful doing what he does, but it's even more pronounced from the left side. And you see him swing, and he's got that uppercut because he stays on his backside so long. That's why he's going to have so much success in this ballpark. He'll hit a lot of fly balls to right field.
Alex Rodriguez on deck. No score in the game. Runner at second. 1 out. Jeter, who still runs well, and that cutter is bounced foul back behind the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Yankees have hit a lot of home runs as a team, and they've hit a lot of home runs in this ballpark. They've hit 165 homers so far this year, 97 of them here. And in fact, if you add in their opponent, there have been 169 home runs hit in the new Yankee Stadium through 55 games. Coors Field was the most prolific home run ballpark through 55 games. And the new Yankee Stadium is very high on that list. It was called Enron Field when the Minute Maid Park opened in Houston, and balls were flying out of there, although the Astros pitching staff was giving up a ton of them. This is Youkilis, and Teixeira, whose bat snapped in two, is retired. So 2 down. So Teixeira not able to get Jeter home. And again, getting sawed off, which is what you were talking about with Lester.
Well, watch the swing. Watch how he swings. Watch, see his weight's back here. And look where it stays. It stays back there. See, it's still back there on his backside. That's the difference between him and, say, A-Rod or some of the other hitters. He stays back there, which means he's going to end up with an uppercut, but he's able to make it work for him. I don't, you wouldn't advise young players to hit that way, but he makes it work for him. And watch, we'll see the difference in A-Rod. By contrast, he'll go to his front side.
Well, whatever A-Rod does, it has not
well
worked a whole lot against John Lester. Only 1 hit lifetime against Lester for Alex Rodriguez. And A-Rod is not 100% and won't be for the rest of this year. He missed the first season after having some hip surgery, and the report was that he was going to have that more extensive hip surgery to fully repair that injured hip in the offseason. Nonetheless, he got 20 home runs. 14 of them have been hit in this new ballpark, although he's hit very poorly for average here at the new Yankee Stadium. And Lester works off the outside, a ball on the strike.
Well, I'll tell you what John Lester has done to Alex Rodriguez. The .091 batting average coming into today. Alex Rodriguez has seen 46 pitches from John Lester. 22 of them have been inside fastballs. He busts them hard in, tries to speed them up, and then he may go away with a changeup or that curveball. But he pounds him with that fastball and tries to jam him inside.
And he goes inside there, but misses off the corner. And it is 2-1. We mentioned A-Rod with 20 home runs. There's 32 hitters have more home runs than him in Major League Baseball going into play today. But he's had 4 of his home runs that have given the Yankees a lead in the 7th inning or later. And he's tied for the Major League lead in that category. So,
and he also missed the first month.
That's after missing the first month, and still tied for the Major League lead in critical home runs.
But that's always been the knock on Alex Rodriguez here in New York. I mean, fans here have always said he never gets it done in the clutch. Whenever we need that big hit, he doesn't deliver. Well, he has done that, and I really think this year Yankee fans have realized what the Yankees were before he was in the lineup, and then once he came back, what difference he made to their offense, not only with what he's done swinging the bat, but what the rest of the lineup has done upon his return as well.
It's just like the movie It's a Wonderful Life, the old Jimmy Stewart movie. They got a chance to find out what life would have been like without him, and they didn't like it.
They didn't like it very much.
But now he's back, and on Friday he did this in the 15th.
That was a curveball from Tozawa, and in his first major league stint on the mound, he gives up the game-winning home run to Alex Rodriguez.
3-2 the count to A-Rod. Jeter at second, 2 down. Base hit could put the Yankees ahead. Youkilis, and the inning is over. Leadoff single for Jeter, nothing more against Lester. Youkilis will be coming up, then Jason Bay against Pettit. Here come the Red Sox into the 2nd inning from Yankee Stadium. Kevin Youkilis hitting cleanup. A ball off the outside. And you might be saying, wait a minute, cleanup, where's Big Papi? Alex Rodriguez, or rather David Ortiz. Well, I'm getting my guy's name to be amongst the 104 who tested positive in 2003. Guys, I'm mixing and matching them.
Tough
now
to keep track, John.
David Ortiz out of the lineup today, and I don't think it has anything to do with his name coming up on that list, but or having been leaked to the media. Reportedly, supposedly he's on that list, but he's just not hitting. So David Ortiz with the left-hander Pettit on the hill out of the lineup. Jason Bay back in, and he'll be on deck here with Youkilis leading off the inning. Youkilis is hitting .309, 20 home runs and 66 batted in. There's Bay, another right-handed hitter on deck. Strike on the outside. 2-2 from Andy Pettitte. Pettitte, 47 wins, 19 losses in the month of August in his career, the third highest career winning percentage in the month of August in Major League history, behind a couple of former Yankees. And the slider puts him away. One away. Let's go to the studio. Steve Berthiaume with the Sports Center right now.
John, a 5-under-65 Sunday gave Tiger Woods his 7th win at the World Golf Classic Bridgestone Invitational. It came after leader Patty Harrington triple bogeyed the 16th at Firestone. Tiger heads to next week's PGA, coming off back-to-back wins. And NASCAR's Sprint Cup race at Watkins Glen rained out Sunday. A reminder, ESPN will carry the race live on noon Eastern Time Monday. Jimmy Johnson will start from the pole. Sports Center follows the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Okay, Steve, thank you. And a called strike to Jason Bay. A big curveball in there from Andy Pettitte. Bay has had some success, considerable success against Pettitte, and that is a called strike on the inside. Now, he hit a home run, a mammoth home run at Tropicana Field down in St. Petersburg on Wednesday, then sort of aggravated his hamstring injury and left that game, and this is his first game since then. Just off the outside. His home run on Wednesday went 432 feet. But it is not to say that he's been hitting those with regular, one right after the other. He had not hit a homer since July the 7th. So that's his only home run in a little bit more than a month's time.
I asked him about his struggles, and I said, is there anything that when you're not going right? He said, it's just not seeing the ball. I'm not seeing the ball. It's not mechanical. It's my timing. I'm not picking the ball up early enough and making the right decisions.
Right field. Swisher in the corner.
Well, I'm watching. The ball doesn't seem to be carrying as well tonight as it would have us believe. This is my first time coming to Yankee Stadium this year, but the ball doesn't seem to be traveling as well. Maybe it's because of the air tonight, but it just doesn't seem to be traveling as well to right field.
You can just about see the soup in the air that's out here. It's a very, very humid night.
Well, from what I was hearing, if he just hit it over the head of the second baseman, it was a home run.
That's what I mean. That's what we thought. Anything in the air to right field was a home run.
But at the moment, there really is no wind blowing inside Yankee Stadium at all. And in the early part of the season, when the ballpark first opened, there was a jet stream, reportedly, that seemed to be aimed right out toward right center field. And the ball was flying out, especially in that direction. J.D. Drew, 0-1 the count to him, and a ball too low. Now, Drew, the guy the Red Sox paid a lot of money to, but he's hitting only .244. He's getting a lot of walks as usual, but only 12 home runs, 43 batted in. And he's battling an assortment of injuries. They are missing his big-time production. I think they expect him, generally, based on his track record, to be hitting somewhere close to 300 and getting 25, 30 home runs and 100 walks. To be an offensive machine. That's a base hit to right field for Drew.
When you look at the offensive struggles for the Red Sox, it's not any one player. I mean, they're obviously David Ortiz has struggled, but J.D. Drew's not giving them what they thought and expected. Jason Bay got off to a great start and has cooled off significantly. They're not getting anything out of the shortstop position this year and putting an awful lot of pressure on the Kevin Youkilis's and Dustin Pedroia's of the world.
Definitely, when you have to make up for the lack of offense in other positions, that's when guys start to press. That's when they start to try to do too much.
Mike Lowell, 348 lifetime average against Andy Pettitte. Jason Bay, who hit the ball fairly well, but a line drive into the glove of Swisher for an out in this inning. And that cutter is low and in for ball one to Mike Lowell. So David Ortiz missing tonight from the lineup. And that is significant because he's not hitting, but lifetime, even though Pettitte's a lefty, he has a 370 lifetime average against Andy Pettitte. That's over a lot of at-bats.
I think the one thing that's interesting is, why did David Ortiz hold his press conference at Yankee Stadium? I mean, he came here, had his press conference about, that he didn't knowingly take any steroids, and it must have been supplements that led to a test result. But what I'm surprised at is why he would have that press conference here at Yankee Stadium and not back at Fenway when they head home tomorrow.
Well, Mike Weiner was here.
Right, you got the
Weiner was here.
Right,
So.
new union president, and obviously the guy running the Major League Players Association. But I mean, he could easily have grabbed the train or the shuttle up to Boston to do it up there. But it just seemed like it created this whole sense of attention to the topic.
You think as people do newsworthy things in New York, it gets a lot of coverage?
On occasion, I think that it does happen that way.
Well, he got a lot of coverage for basically saying, I didn't do it. He bought vitamins and supplements over the counter. He said he was careless in those days in terms of what vitamins and what supplements he was buying. And also, point blank said he had never taken steroids. And there's that great pickoff move by Pettit, and for a moment he had Drew going the wrong way. 2-2 the count to Lowell.
For whatever it's worth, someone from Balco said that you could have a positive test from some of the things that are in the supplements that you can buy from over the counter. For whatever that's worth now.
2-2 the count.
At least he wasn't anonymous.
And that is a foul. Well, I think it was Mike Lupica in the Daily News today made the comment in his column, that his regular Sunday column, that whoever is leaking these names to the press, I guess, generally, I guess the New York Times, it's been getting the names, but without giving the substance for which the guy tested positive, it's like saying the guy was arrested and not saying for what. And I think that's a good point. And if they know the names, don't they know the substance as well? We need more substance in those illegal leaks.
Well, you know what? I want to clarify something right now, though. We talked about this last week, and we quoted Mike Lupica, who's a friend of ours. But I do not, and I mean this, I do not suspect every player whose name I do not know whether he's on that list or not. I do not look at Derek Jeter and think, well, he took supplements because I don't know if his name was on that list. I don't do that with Ken Griffey Jr. I don't do that with Jason Varitek. I need something to make me suspicious before I'm suspicious of these guys.
I didn't, for instance, suspect David Ortiz.
Right.
Or Manny Ramirez.
But I still can't suspect all the guys simply because I don't know if their name is on the list. I can't look out there on this field tonight and know that these guys' names, I don't know if their name's on that list, and say, well, you know, I believe they might be guilty. I can't do that because I was a player once myself, and I know a lot of times things are created, you know, by newspaper people or by someone leaking names. I'm not even sure all the names that leaked were guilty, and that's basically what they were saying yesterday. So I'm just speaking for myself. I can understand why some people may look at it that way, but I can't look at it that way.
Jason Varitek, the hitter. 2 men on, 2 men out.
You would have to get me with Derek Jeter in a room and watch him do it and have him test
to get you to believe that.
Yeah. And Ken Griffey Jr. and these guys. There are guys that, I mean, so I can't, in my heart, just feel like because I don't know who's on that list, suspect all of them. I really can't.
But I can understand why the fans do. I mean, they kind of put everybody under the same umbrella and say, well, you know what? I'm not surprised because I think everybody's doing it.
I can understand why other people do it. I'm just speaking for myself.
1 ball and no strikes. And he chases that high fastball. Now, this is a spot where a base hit could knock in a run. You've got J.D. Drew, who ordinarily, when he's healthy, runs real well at second base. The Red Sox have not had a hit in this scenario for a good long while with a runner in scoring position. In fact, on this road trip, 4 hits in 51 at-bats in their 5-game losing streak with runners in scoring position. And now Varitek is behind in the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
One of the things to keep an eye on for Andy Pettit tonight, the high fastball is an effective pitch for him when his velocity is 89 miles per hour or higher. When the velocity is above 89, they're slugging .294 against him. But when it's under 89 miles per hour, he's getting slugged around .655 slugging percentage. So far, the high fastball 90 and 91 in this game.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Drew at second, Lowell at first. No score in the game. And the cutter down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And Posada out to the mound to conference with Andy Pettit. And there's the beleaguered manager of the Sox, Terry Francona. And Francona trying to keep everybody's spirits up and continually saying, hey, I believe in this club right now. I believed in them 2 weeks ago, a month ago. But they're hitting 157 in this road trip and below 100 with runners in scoring position. The inning is over. And another at bat without a hit with a runner in scoring position. Posada coming up for the Yankees.
Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!
From the new Yankee Stadium, Red Sox nothing, Yankees nothing. Yankee half of the second inning. Boston's left-handed 25-year-old John Lester on the hill. Jorge Posada leads off, then Nick Swisher and Robinson Cano to follow. And a changeup just off the outside. 1 ball and no strikes to Posada, who is hitting .281, 14 homers and 50 runs batted in. He's a switch hitter, batting right-handed. Nick Green, and there is one away. The ESPN original documentary, The Lost Son of Havana, will debut tomorrow night on ESPN. The story follows former Major League All-Star and former Red Sox and former Yankee Luis Tiant, who after 46 years of exile had a rare opportunity to revisit his homeland. The Lost Son of Havana, ESPN tomorrow night at 10 Eastern, immediately following the Tigers Red Sox telecast here on ESPN. You saw El Tiante at the Esquina Caliente, the hot corner. And I saw before the game, and he said it was really hot that particular day. It was about 100 degrees in the hot corner in Havana. That's a place where, and you went down there, Joe.
It was fabulous.
A few years back when we did a ball game in Havana, and you went to the Esquina Caliente where they sit and talk about baseball, argue about baseball. And they argued with you about how good the old Cincinnati Reds were.
Right there. Look at the numbers for Luis Tiant.
I had a chance to preview that movie, and I tell you what, it is terrific. I mean, it is moving. Luis Tiant comes out such a sensitive guy. 46 years he had not been back in Cuba. Went back, saw family members, people where he grew up. It was terrific.
Strike 3 to Swisher. So he is retired post haste by Lester. 2 down, and Robinson Cano will come up. By the way, Luis Tiant will stop by the booth, and we're hoping in the next inning when the Red Sox come up to be visiting with Luis Tiant. And Tiant was part of that great World Series, one of the all-time most exciting World Series ever played, 1975. He was the ace right-hander for the Red Sox against your Cincinnati Reds, Joe. And the Reds ended up winning that series in 7 games. But Tiant got a couple of wins, and one he just shut the big red machine down, and then the other he struggled. He threw a million pitches and somehow just would not yield and managed to stay all the way into the end and win that ball game.
Yeah,
Game 4.
He got me out for the last out of the game.
He popped you up. Trust me, it's in the movie.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in there. I wasn't going to bring it up, but now that you did, it is in there.
Fastball right down the middle, and I popped it up.
And what was it? His 173rd pitch.
Yeah, a lot of pitches.
Now they're saying they went back, they checked it. They got the official total. 162
right.
pitches. Yeah.
Whatever. He was tired. I'll tell you that. And he just laid one in there, and I popped it up.
1 ball and 1 strike. The count to Cano, and a foul off the left field line against John Lester. In the 75 World Series, Luis Tiant pitched Game 1 at Fenway, a shutout, 5 hits.
I got 2 hits that day, though.
And then Game 4, that's where he laid.
They didn't show that. See, right. He only gave up 5. I got 2. They didn't show that one, right? Okay.
And then in Game 6, he came back because they had those rainouts. So there were several days between games 5 and 6, and he went 7 innings, 6 runs, 11 hits allowed in game 6. And it really was later in that game toward the 7th that you guys really started to hit him hard. That was the game where Bernie Carbo eventually homered to tie the game, and then Carlton Fisk launched one to end it. But this is Joe Morgan.
Look at that.
Final out of game 4.
Pitch. Right down the middle.
See, now that's just not right, Joe. No. I told him not to show that.
Right down the middle. That's all right. We won in the end.
Yes,
so you know, right down the middle. I
think not only did your club win, but you also came up with a clutch hit in the 9th inning of game 7.
Yeah.
2-2 the count. That often gets left out of the tale of how that World Series went.
Well, everybody seems to think that Boston won because all you ever do is see Carlton Fisk doing this, you know, and the ball hitting the foul pole. They think that that was the game-winning hit. They think that they won because of that. But I always have to let Carlton know. I think he thinks they won. Yeah, because he sees that all the time. I have to remind him every year at the Hall of Fame that they lost.
Well, your hits ended up on the editor's room floor. Yeah. Unfortunately, exactly. No sign of those base hits in the movie. But it is a terrific movie.
Cano with 2 down, nobody on, and that is strike 3 call. 3 up and 3 down. Louis Tiant will be visiting with us here in the booth. Red Sox and Yankees, and he played for both of them and was a great member of the Red Sox for several years. Big crowd at the new big ballpark in the Bronx, Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox nothing, the Yankees nothing as we start the 3rd inning. Andy Pettitte to the 9th place Boston hitter Nick Green with Jacoby Ellsbury, the leadoff man, on deck. And welcome to Luis Tiant, and he pitched for other ball clubs besides the Red Sox, but it was with Boston, I think, that he's most remembered, and in New England that he is most beloved. But he also, his last couple of years, pitched for the Yankees. And before we talk to you about this outstanding film that will debut on ESPN tomorrow night, The Lost Son of Havana, welcome to Sunday Night Baseball.
Thank you very much.
And how did you end up leaving the Red Sox and sign with the Yankees of all teams? How could that possibly happen?
I don't know. I still don't believe in that. I still don't believe in that. You know, I mean, I was upset in some ways. My wife, she was upset. But, you know, it's a strange thing that when that happened, you know, because like you just said, you know, people in Boston, they show me respect, they show me love, appreciation for what I do all the year, you know, and you quite get into that mood, that family type of thing, you know.
But they never seem to blame you for it. They seem to blame the Red Sox, Haywood Sullivan, or whoever the GM was at that time.
They never, you know, some fans, you know how it is, the rivalry between the Yankees and Boston, you know, they're looking at you, what you do, what's the matter with you, when you go to the Yankees. You know, hey, I have to go with the club that want me. And that time, they don't want me. No, the fan, the club. Because I talked to them, when I come in here and talk to George. George told me, you call him back, or go back to Boston, and see what they're going to do to you. Or what kind of contract they're going to give you, because I don't want to tell you how much money I'm going to give you, how many years I'm going to give you. I don't want to start in that race. And I called him, I told my agent to call him, and they said, no, we only give you 1 year, or whatever he go, good luck. You know, that's what they said to
me.
Good
luck. So then the Yankees said, well, George said he'll give you 2 years?
I stay, I called my wife, I tell her, look, this is what happened. And then she said, oh, you do what you have to do. And I stay and signed.
All right, so you signed.
And to me, it was sad day for me, no, because I signed with the Yankees, because I come into a big organization, everything, but you know, my heart was in Boston, Massachusetts, with the team, with the fans. Because in all those years I played baseball, I love Cleveland. Cleveland people was nice to me. Minnesota was 1 year, Pittsburgh, and California Angels, but nothing like Boston.
In Boston.
Nothing like Boston for me, you know.
But your heart was in Boston.
Oh yeah.
But your homeland was Cuba.
Yes, sir.
You they had the revolution, Castro's revolution, and then you were outside of Cuba. You decided to stay away from Cuba and play ball.
Yes, sir.
And went to the major leagues. But you were then persona non grata. The edict went out that you were not welcome back in Cuba, and it was 46 years that you were away from your homeland before you went back in 2007.
Yep.
And that must have been, and as evidenced by the film, the Lost Son of Havana, it was a very emotional return for you.
It is. I think, you know, John Kirk, you know, all those guys making the movie, putting together, I think they do a hell of a job because to me, I want a movie. I want to do a documentary or movie, whatever they want to do about my life, you know, not the life about baseball, because everybody know me because of Luis Tian, the ball player. But they really know how hard we have to go. It's a hard journey for us, not just me. Joe, because I play with Joe in Burlington.
Yeah.
You was playing for Durham. And you hit it on wrong and beat me in the playoff. I don't forget you, boy. You know, we go through a lot of hard stuff. People that don't know what they take to be a ball player and get what we are now. You know, and but that's what I want to show to people. You know, baseball, you know, some people thinking, and then other people, I know I go someplace and people say, oh, you're lucky you play baseball. Yeah, but you don't know what it takes to get there. And you know, when you're looking around, how many teams, how many players, how many human beings in this world, how many players are? We know too many percentage. You know,
well, and there was a time when your career, you had some great years in Cleveland, and then a year or two later, it looked like your career might have been over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You injured your shoulder.
I hurt my shoulder. I cracked my shoulder blade. And then to recuperate.
This is a double play ball. Jeter, two. Jacoby Ellsbury, very fast and tough to double up ordinarily, but that was made to order, and just like that, 2 down and nobody on. But then you were Minnesota a brief time after you recuperated, and then you end up with Boston, and that's where everything just seemed to be the perfect blending of everything. It was very serendipitous for you.
That really take me like a year and a half to coming back. See, and that's what I telling players now. I talk to Small, I talk to Pedro, you know, and the problem is, you know, I don't care what the doctor tell you. I don't care what the trainer tell you. Oh, you ready? You can pitch and you can play. It's over here, my friend.
Yeah.
It's all in your mind. You have to have it building your confidence back. If you don't do that, you're gonna go so-so. One day you're gonna you're gonna have a so-so game. Next time you pitching, they're gonna blow you away.
In the '75 World Series, you had a great game in Game 1. You shut them out. Game 4, more of a so-so game, but it sort of built your legend in Boston. 162 pitches.
Yep.
And was your arm hurting you after that game, after all those pitches?
No. I mean, I used to throw a lot of pitches. I think we are in different system now. The system has changed. What we used to pitching. And one thing, we grew up that way. You started and you want to finish. Now you starting and you don't know when you're going to finish. You know?
But you usually don't finish now.
But you know, put the finger in the player. That's the system.
Right.
Because like I said to people now, see, I pitch it now, I have to do the same thing they do.
And you got Joe out for the final out in that Game 4. Do you remember that?
Yeah, he let me get him out.
Dustin Pedroia flies out. Luis Tiant is here with us.
You know, why did you decide to go back to Cuba at this time? I know you wanted to make the documentary, but why haven't you been back before?
Well, because they deny. I tried twice, and the government here and the government there.
Right.
Not just there, here too. And then they say, no, I can't go. And the thing was, my biggest problem, my biggest fear in my head was, you know, too many guys, I grew up with them in Cuba, too many guys I play baseball with them, and too many Cubans, like Zelia Cruz, you remember Zelia Cruz, his husband, a lot of other people we name, they're making a big name all over the world, and they never can come back. They die here, or they die whatever, they never can come back to their own land. And I think to me, that's the squeeze for you for the human rights. I think that's a bad thing for the human rights. I don't think we should suffer that much. I think you should get the opportunity to come back to your country, come back and see your people, and I don't care what happened. You know, and I'm not talking only about Cuba, because a lot of other people from other countries, they never can come back to the country because of the revolution, the killing, and they do all kind of things. I think it's sad because, you know, one thing I know, when you grow up, you know, like a lot of those kids, they want to know where the grandparents from, and they someday in their life, they want to visit the country.
Right.
You know, now your country, where you know you're born, and then you go out for 46 years,
Right.
and you can't come back. You know, that's sad. You know, and to me, I was lucky in some way. You know, they let my father and mother come in '75.
Right.
You remember it was there.
Well, let me ask you about that, Luis. You know, I think one of the most moving parts of this film is the relationship with your father. Family was certainly a big part for you when you went back over there. How would you describe the impact your father had, who was a terrific pitcher himself in the Negro Leagues, the impact he had on you and your career?
Well, you know, I think what happened to me, one of the things, he don't wanted me to pitch, play baseball. He wanted me to go to school. You know, when you're a kid and you're dealing with that, your father, you want to be something, and like him. And they say, no. I want to. And thank you, my papa. Thank you. You know, I wanted you to go to school. Even that, he sent me to Americans in Cuba. And you can understand it. When you're a kid, you want to play. He was a player. Why not? And then the reason I play baseball because of my mother. My mother, when they select me to go to Mexico in the juvenile Olympic, they say, no, you don't go. My mother said, no, you have to let it go. That's why you want to let it go. And they let me go. And then after that, the players and the friends, they used to know my father. They used to tell him, hey, you better go see your kid because he's good, you know. Right. And then he started coming and see me. But in the beginning, he really don't wanted me to do. And you know, and the thing is, when I come back here, and then I see what's going on, you know, when I come back in the 60s, 62, that's where I played with him in 63 against him.
Now, your dad was a pitcher.
Yeah.
Now, you had a very unique wind-up, your style of pitching. Did he teach you that? Where did this?
No.
And that was your dad, Louis Tiant Sr.
Yeah, I heard
pitched in the old Negro leagues.
Yeah, I heard he got a funny movie too. Funny move, but no like me, you know, not like me. He never teach me.
So he had a good pickoff move.
Yeah. And I know he's a guy. I remember he used to tell me, and some of the friends used to play with him in the winter ball, and they've been coming my coaches. They used to tell me, one guy, he can hit my father for nothing. Then that day, my father threw to first base, and the guy swing. He walked out there. He walked out the home plate, and the umpire and the catcher laughing at him. Why you guys laughing? He said, he threw to first base. Are you kidding me?
Of all the things, when you went back there, what's the most memorable thing, you know, that happened to you when you were back there?
Well, you know, the ideas, you know, the same you see, you don't really fit together with what you're thinking. You know what I mean? Because after 46 years, you know everything gonna change. You know that. You know, I know that because my friend in Florida told me, when you get there, you're gonna be a surprise. Know your family for what you see. You know, and it really was the truth what you said to me. You know, I think, you know, when I get in the plane and we landing, and I see the line and landing, you know, everything coming to your head. You know, then what my fear was, when I get there, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if the government going to say, you can come in here, or we're going to hold you here, or you can get out. You know, I don't know. You know, and then you start thinking, you start getting nervous. And I can think you can see in the movie, you know, because they're taking part of in the movie, the part of there, you know, you see the face, and then I check in my head, and that's I was thinking about it, what's going to happen, when I get there. But, you know, thank you God, nothing happened, and everything was okay. And then when you see your family, that's hard.
And you saw people, cousins and aunts and uncles, you hadn't seen in 46 years.
No, 5. I was having 5 aunts. Now 2 died after I come back. After coming back here, 2 dies, and then I got about 170 cousins. That's a lot of people. But you know, it's a good thing for me.
Jeter along the right field line, and that ball is just back into the crowd with a runner at first and 1 out here in the 3rd. No score. Yeah. Luis Tiant is here with us. Now, Louis, but I want to get back to this. You had the visit to Cuba and everything. But one more time, I want to see the Tiant delivery. We have some video of the 75 World Series because it was a thing of beauty. Here we go. Look at this. The spin, you turn your back on home plate, you look up in the sky, and who's that? A swing and a miss by Joe Morgan.
That's my boy here. Hey, you know what? I tell you one thing. I got my respect for Joe. He was a great player.
But where'd that delivery?
You know what? That really satisfied me more than anything. Yeah, you know what's a big man? And like a lot of people, you have to be big, you could be good. That's a lie. He was more and he was good. He good than anybody else, I tell you. And I give you credit because he was a great hitter, a great player, and a great hustler. And he played hard every day, and that's what you see when the guy want to make it. And I tell you, yes, I see him in the World Series, but I said to you before, we play against a minor league in 1963. And he played for Durham. I played for Burlington, North Carolina. And like I say, he hit a home run and beat me in the playoff.
Yeah, we don't have a video. Sorry. Sorry, Joe.
I think I get even this time. He hit me in the minor league and I get him on the World Series. You know what I mean?
And you got him out again 35 years later. Sunday Night Baseball.
That's the thing that happened. But I have a lot of respect for him. Believe me.
One of the things I always remember when I first got to Boston, and I did. I have to tell you, I was so excited just to see you pitch because there are certain guys that have that charisma on the mound and everything. It was said when you're on the mound, I don't care where you are in Fenway Park, at some point during that game, you will make eye contact with you. I think that's the greatest slogan, anybody ever wrote about a player. I mean, that's a great statement because you were doing this and doing this with your head and you're making eye contact with somebody. So I think it was great. I love watching you pitch, I mean, that was great. And you have this, look at this record. I mean, that's a fabulous record. People, they're talking about 300 wins now, but that's very few people get 300 wins. That's 229 and 172. Look at that. I mean, that winning percentage is very good. So obviously you had a great career as well, and you got me out too. So whatever. That's on top of it.
We saw your delivery there. Why did you decide to go with a delivery as unique and unconventional as that?
Oh, I started in 1972, and was because after I got hurt
after the shoulder.
70. Then it taken me like a year and a half. My first ball no while as the same like I was in 64. I mean in 68, where I have the big year 1.60 ERA. But I say, I maybe come back like a 90% of what it was. And my first ball no was they don't get to get it up like I have it before. And hit attack hit you here and there. And then that day, 1972, I pitched against Cleveland. And I beat Cleveland 3-1. And then I got the guy in 2 strikes. And I look in the center field. I looking around. I pray to God, please let me get this guy out, And then I come in the side out. And the guy opened the eye about that big around. Then he jumped. A more random out of the play. I tried 3. And then he go and ask, what is do? What is that? What you do? I said, that's a new pitch. Are you kidding me? and then from that point on, I thought, trying to master that, get the same point release coming from here and here and there. And I did it. And I win 172 games after that. It worked for me.
Yeah, it worked.
It did work.
And that's a different, I think I was one of the persons, like a lot of other persons do. I try different things. I don't care, I listen, I watch it, and takes in for people. When people telling you this and that, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to do everything people tell you, because I think they're missing you out too. You know? But you can see people conversation, people telling you something about this and that, and then you picking what you think you can put in your schedule that you're going to happen you. See, and that's what I used to do. And I'm not afraid to making any change. You know. And
what are you doing now? What do you do now? What are you doing?
I do everything and I don't do nothing. No.
Well, you're in the movies now.
Yeah, you know.
He's a movie star, and he's in the Lost Son of Havana. Telecast tomorrow night at 10 o'clock on ESPN and ESPN HD. He is the one and only Luis Tiant.
El Tiante.
Thank you.
And
thank you, man.
No, but I
always remembered as your Red Sox going to be okay?
Yeah, before, yeah. Like I want to say, like you say, I still work for the Red Sox.
Oh, okay.
You know, I do PR.
I thought.
All right. Luis Tiant
works for the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Many thanks. Tomorrow night, check it out.
Okay.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. This is the home of the Yankees, the brand new Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and the Yankees and Red Sox playing game 4 of the series. The 3 previous games, all wins for the Yankees, who would lead the division by 5.5 at the moment over the second place Sox. So the Red Sox struggling big time, and here is Victor Martinez to lead off. The third place hitter, Kevin Youkilis, Jason Bay. The power coming up here against Andy Pettitte of the Yankees. The Red Sox scoreless through 3 in this game and through 27 innings now, dating back to the last time they scored a run, which was Thursday. They were shut out for 15 innings here on Friday, 9 innings yesterday, and this is the longest stretch of being shut out for the Red Sox since 1993, when they were shut out for 27 consecutive innings. That's 16 years ago. The longest stretch against the Yankees was a 33-inning stretch of being shut out. That was in 1952. And they were not a good ball club then. That's, I recall Ted Williams went back into the military during the Korean War, and they weren't doing that well even with Ted at that time. So this is a dry spell for the Red Sox like no other that they have experienced in a long time. And to have it happening against the Yankees, that makes it that much worse. And there's A.J. Burnett on the left. He was the man who faced Josh Beckett here, 2 former teammates from Florida. And they shut out each other, and the game went to the bullpens, and finally in the 15th a Yankee win. And CC Sabathia on the right, and he was overpowering yesterday.
And a no-hitter through 5. Jacoby Ellsbury got the base hit to break up the no-hitter yesterday.
Well, there are certain pitchers that can put you in a slump.
Yeah, right.
And A.J. Burnett, when he's on, and CC Sabathia, when he's on, they're the kind of guys that can put you in a slump. And so the Red Sox, you know, I think part of this isn't just bad Red Sox hitting. This is good Yankee pitching, and I think you got to tip the cap a little bit to those two.
That is just foul.
And that's why I was saying at the beginning, this is a good Yankee team because they can beat you in so many ways. 13-6 on Thursday, 15 innings of shutout on Friday, and they continued to shut out yesterday with a lot of pressure offensively on Boston, and they were able to win 5-0. And now they're pitching well again today. So, I mean, this team can win in a lot of different ways, and you got guys like Teixeira and A-Rod can hit the ball out of the ballpark. That's always the threat, especially in close games.
And a high fastball is punched foul by Martinez down the right field line.
We talked to Dave Megan, the hitting coach for the Red Sox, a little bit about, you know, their slump and their struggle and what they're going to do to approach Andy Pettitte. He said one of the things we've noticed is Andy Pettitte is going a lot more off-speed pitches, and we've seen that tonight. A lot of cut fastballs, a lot of sliders, a lot of curveballs. Really staying away from the fastball. When he does throw the fastball, he's going up in the zone, that higher-than-high fastball, the tough one to catch up to.
And that one in on the hands, right to Jeter. One away.
You know, Andy Pettitte at 37 years old, well, when he broke into the major leagues, he was one kind of pitcher. He was a good high fastball, four-seam pitcher. See that 1996, that's a good hard high fastball that we're seeing a little bit tonight, but he threw harder back then. And then he had the curveball that he threw off of that pitch. He had that big 12-6 break on that curveball, the big breaker. That's what he was when he broke into the major leagues. The hard high fastball, then out of that same plate, he came with a curveball. But now we've seen an evolution of Andy Pettitte. Like a lot of pitchers, as time goes by, they have to kind of reinvent themselves a little bit when they lose some of the fastball. And we're seeing really some elements of that in this game tonight, where he's going a lot more secondary stuff and then pitching the fastball off of the breaking pitches.
And he's won 187 of those 224 career victories for the Yankees. He had that sojourn in Houston with the Astros for a time. Off the fists and right to Teixeira, and Kevin Youkilis is now 0 for 2.
You know, we talk about Andy Pettitte, what we're seeing tonight. Well, you know, he's really evolved. They're like a lot of veteran pitchers who continue to have success. And, you know, that cut fastball, he gives you different velocities. You know, we saw the fastballs at 90 miles per hour. There's the cut fastball, 86, 85 miles per hour. And then the big sweeping slider. He throws that a lot to the left-handers. That hard slider down to the dirt. You look at the location of that pitch, starting it at the knees and breaking it down in the zone, trusting Jorge Posada behind the plate to keep it in front.
He's allowed 2 hits so far tonight, 1 walk, and has had a couple of strikeouts. No score in the game. The Red Sox only one time got a runner into scoring position against him, and that only occurred after 2 were down in the second inning, and he struck out Jason Varitek to strand 2 runners on base. Jason Bay lined out to right his first time, and off the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Yankees, for their part, have not done anything against John Lester. They've had 2 singles, and nobody's gotten past first base against Lester. Joe Girardi, Yankee manager. And Joe Girardi this year has gone from where's A-Rod and where's our superstar to having a pitching staff that was in tatters. The bullpen was getting shelled, and now they're on top of the world. 2-2.
Well, let's take a look at Andy Pettitte tonight. He's still using he's throwing curveballs. That's to Jacoby Ellsbury. Gets a slider away to Pedroia, another slider away to Martinez, and slider down and in to Youkilis. And he also struck Varitek out with the slider down in, or the cut fastball, whichever you want to call it.
Big curveball and called ball 3. 3-2. Jason Bay, the Red Sox, anxious for him to get going again. His average down to 252 at game time. And a little looping liner over the middle off the end of the bat for a single. The 3rd Boston hit.
Last, since Jason Bay came over, in the Ramirez 3-deal trade, 3-team trade, I've always felt like he was a good mistake hitter. You make a mistake and he's going to hurt you. But now he looks like he's struggling a little bit. But when you made a mistake before, he hit the ball out of the ballpark. That pitch there was up and he didn't drive it. But he's normally a guy, if you make mistakes, he makes you pay for it. You make good pitches on him, you can get him out.
Now J.D. Drew singled his first time. In the dirt.
A good block by Jorge Posada right there. The breaking ball man on first base. I mean, that ball gets by him or kicks away, and he doesn't keep it in front. You get a runner in scoring position with J.D. Drew at the plate. So outstanding effort by Posada on that.
Now, ordinarily, this would be a spot with 2 down where you might think about Jason Bay stealing a bat. He has 11 steals this year, but he's got a hamstring problem that has put him on the shelf for several days. This is his first game back since Wednesday, but also there's the matter of Andy Pettitte. Whether you've got a hamstring problem or not, it's difficult to steal a base with Andy Pettitte on the mound.
That's true. I mean, he has one of the better moves in baseball.
And that one curves in there for a called strike. 1-1 to Drew.
We go back to that block by Jorge Posada and the breaking ball in the dirt. He gave him the confidence to come back with a curveball there. Listen, man on first base, 2 outs. You don't want a runner going to scoring position. Posada does a nice job shifting in front, and he turned his shoulder to be able to create an angle to keep the ball in front and not kick toward the third base dugout.
And he crowds Drew there, but off the inside. And Drew is very patient, very particular about what pitches he'll swing at. So he's ahead of the count now, 2-1. Drew, another guy, they need his numbers to start heading upward. That is through the middle, base hit, his second hit of the night, and Bay will go to third. Melky Cabrera gets it back to second.
Makes that block in the dirt even more important right now with a base hit from J.D. Drew, because he doesn't do that and Bay's on second base. That's a run for the Boston Red Sox. You see they set up inside trying to come in with a fastball, but Pettit throws it out over the plate a little bit, and J.D. Drew does a nice job going back up the middle, not opening up too soon. And a lot of times for left-handed hitters, with the lefty on the mound, they start to give a little bit, open up too early, but he stayed up the middle with it. Good piece of hitting.
So J.D. Drew with the single, and here is Mike Lowell. The Red Sox have not scored a run since Thursday. They've been shut out for more than 27 consecutive innings. And a curveball for a strike to Mike Lowell. Lowell walked his first time. A veteran who has been an excellent clutch hitter for most of his years in the big leagues.
Well, Pettit has been stealing a first pitch strike with that curveball all night, but he hasn't been able to put the hitters away consistently here this inning with the slider or the cut fastball. There it is.
And off the inside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joe, at some point, do you look for that curveball in a situation if he starts everybody off with it?
I doubt it on the first pitch. I mean, unless you're left, I think if you're a left-handed hitter, it's easier to hit that curveball than it is from the right side, technically, on the first pitch, I'll say. Pretty much straight away in the outfield, a little bit off to the left and center.
Again, a block by Jorge Posada, keeping Bay at third base. A couple of key blocks in this inning now by Posada.
Well, and it gives Andy Pettit so much confidence to throw that breaking ball. I mean, that's his game, to start it at the knees and break it into the dirt and try to get them to swing and miss over the top of it. And you can only do that if you trust your catcher, and there's certainly a lot of trust with all of the games these two have worked together in their career.
And it could be an overlooked part of a catcher's game too, what kind of a ball blocker he is. Some are better than others.
Another one right there, and you know, there's no statistic to capture that in the game, but that is the sort of thing that wins games and separates the better catchers from the lesser catchers.
173rd start where Pettit has worked to Posada, and they have worked together more often than any other battery mates in baseball. Here's that last block you're talking about, Steve.
You know, he does a good job shifting, put the glove down to block the hole between the legs there as it could possibly scoot through, and does a real nice job. And he's creating that angle so that the ball doesn't kick and ricochet as the break is taking it toward the third base dugout.
A former catcher of Andy Pettit's, now his manager, Joe Girardi. And the changeup way in front of the plate. Again knocked down by Posada. Well, it's getting to the point now where he's having to block one on every single pitch.
Well, let me, Joe, right now, it sure looks to me like Andy Pettit doesn't want to throw his fastball. I mean, it's breaking ball, breaking ball, breaking ball. You've got bases loaded here as a hitter. What are you looking for?
Well, he's going to have to throw a strike here. I don't think he's going to start him off with a fastball. I mean, with the bases loaded, Pettit doesn't usually give in right away. I think he'll try to cut the fastball in on him. But also, I think they're starting to wonder why he's bouncing so many pitches and not necessarily staying away from the fastball. Well, why are you bouncing the slider? There's something he's doing wrong that's forcing him to, you know, keep that ball in the dirt. And it could have been, obviously, Varitek hasn't been swinging the bat that well. Mike Lowell's one of their better hitters. He could have been pitching around him, you know.
So first base wasn't open, but there was a base open.
Right. Well, so I don't believe in that as much, but a lot of times pitchers do. I mean, because technically you just put another runner in scoring position.
Well, especially when you fall behind the guy.
Right.
If you got an empty base, why give in to him who's dangerous? He's hit Pettit well in the past. But here's Varitek, bases loaded. He struck out his first time, and that is too high.
So he's not going to give in until he has to. I don't think he's going to even give in this at bat to Varitek. I think he's going to find a way to throw his cut fastball for a strike, or he's going to continue to try to.
Varitek, for much of his career, much more powerful hitter as a right-handed batter, and that includes this year. 6 homers and only 82 at-bats batting right-handed. That ball lined to left field, and a jump by Damon at the last. 28 innings without a run. They left the bases loaded here in the fourth.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, brought to you by Chevy and Cabot Woodstains. Our performance is legendary.
Sunday Night Baseball from Yankee Stadium in New York. That's the exterior of the new ballpark, which bears a striking similarity to the original outer exterior of Yankee Stadium when it was first built back in the 1920s.
I think you should say the beautiful Yankee Stadium.
It is a beautiful,
beautiful ballpark.
Very impressive as well. And it gives that feeling of both of its predecessors, especially in that the field dimensions are roughly the same as they were across the street at the second incarnation of Yankee Stadium, and they have the frieze or the facade that they used to have in the original Yankee Stadium, ringing the upper part of the ballpark. Teixeira with a single to right. Alex Rodriguez coming up. Here's Steve Berthiaume with the Sports Center right now.
Thank you, John. Sunday's World Golf Championship final round turned on the 16th at Firestone. Tiger Woods knocked this 8-iron to within tap-in birdie range, while leader Patty Harrington triple bogeyed the hole. So Tiger wins for the second straight week, now heads to the PGA looking for his 15th major. And rain washed out NASCAR's Sprint Cup race at Watkins Glen. You can see the reschedule of the race on ESPN Live Monday at noon Eastern. Sports Center after the Red Sox and Yankees on spectacular ESPN HD.
All right, Steve, and here is Alex Rodriguez. Grounded out to third his first time. Teixeira at first. Ball one from John Lester. The Yankees now with 3 hits against Lester. A-Rod only a .257 average, and here in this ballpark he came into play tonight hitting only .208, but 14 of his 20 home runs have been hit here. So he's kind of been an all or nothing kind of a guy at the new Yankee Stadium.
Well, if you're a Yankee fan, you say, well, he hasn't even gotten hot yet, and that bodes well for the Yankees from this point on, because he's going to get hot.
Little tap. Baritek just got him. Teixeira moves over to second. A-Rod got that bad hit. Remember, he had surgery on it. That's why he missed the first month of the season, and is supposed to still have more surgery after the season.
I don't think there's any doubt a healthy A-Rod would have beaten this ball out. A-Rod was quick down the line before, but you can see him. He's really fighting it down the line. Watch him, and he's trying to run properly. Watch his last few steps. He raises up. But Alex Rodriguez used to beat out a lot of those little choppers down the third baseline, and I'm sure he will again when he gets 100% healthy. As you mentioned, John, he's not playing healthy right now. He's not completely healthy.
Well, he was a guy who used to be not just a home run hitter, but a guy who stole a lot of bases. Once a 40-40 man, 40 homers and 40 steals in the same season. So now Teixeira in scoring position. The second time in the game the Yankees have gotten a runner as far as second base. Jeter got there in the first. And here is Posada. And a curveball, a strike from John Lester. A lot of similarities in the styles of pitching between Lester and Andy Pettitte.
Well, I'll tell you, I think that John Lester is to the Boston Red Sox what Andy Pettitte was to the Yankees when he first broke into the major leagues. That good young left-handed starter that wins games, that can pitch in big games and have success, can be a stopper when you need him to be that guy. They really had similar sort of stuff as well when Pettitte broke into the big leagues as well as Lester.
The fastball is just off the outside. And also similar to Pettitte in that he's already proven himself to be a big game type pitcher. He won the clinching game when the Red Sox won the World Series in 2007 in Colorado. And he was just a young pup at that time, 23 years old. It was last year that everything sort of came together in a fabulous season for Lester. Pitched a no-hitter. Lester's got it. The runner, Teixeira, goes to third. Lester gets the sure out at first. His momentum was carrying him in that direction anyway. John Lester, we mentioned his no-hitter May 19th of last year against Kansas City. And And he was overpowering in that game. And Jacoby Ellsbury helped him out. And so did Mike Lowell. And that ended it. He threw over 130 pitches in that no-hitter. And obviously it didn't seem to overly tax him because that last one was an exploding fastball at what, 96, 97 miles an hour.
I think one of the things that we've seen with John Lester, he came back from the cancer and it took a little bit of time for that velocity to come back. But the Red Sox, John Farrell, the pitching coach, was committed to getting him back, and he knew that the velocity and his stuff would be there, and he has proven them right.
Only Tim Lincecum of the Giants with a better winning percentage among the young pitchers. He's 36-15. Lincecum 37-13. In fact, as just a raw percentage, it's the second highest among all active pitchers. Nick Swisher struck out his first time, and there's a bit of ball blocking by Jason Varitek with a runner at third base. 2-0 the count to Swisher.
When you're a catcher, your first job is to deal with the pitcher, help the pitcher by calling his pitches, help him work the game, and play defense. You know, we're always looking for catchers that can hit, and all that's great. But your first priority is to work with the pitcher and to play defense, and that's part of defense.
And the cutter down and in. And it is 3-0. Varitek is known as a master of working with his pitchers, and he is the only catcher in the history of the game to catch 4 no-hitters in his career.
And that's not coincidence either. I mean, really, because he knows how to work with the guys that, you know, he works with them to get the best out of their ability. And that's what a catcher's job is, first and foremost.
You know, it's interesting, too. All 4 of those pitchers, very different guys. Nomo with the split. Derek Lowe, kind of the sinker slider guy. Clay Buchholz, the young guy, that outstanding curveball. And then Lester, the only left-hander of the group. So, you know, 4 no-hitters, but 4 very different pitchers that he led through the ball game to get them.
3-1 the count. And the curveball is in there. Strike 2 call. Well, when you talk to former catchers, and they'll talk about a night where a pitcher pitched a great ball game, and we'll talk about how well he pitched and the defense behind him and all of that. And then that former catcher also mentioned what a great game the catcher had working that pitcher through the night.
And I mean, truthfully, that's his job every single night, but on some occasions it's magical.
3-2. Runner at third. The first Yankee to get to third tonight. 2 down. And that one is popped up. Shallow center. Pedroia is under it. John Lester strands Teixeira at third. Sunday night baseball at the new Yankee Stadium. A jewel on the landscape. No score. On to the 5th. Today's scheduled NASCAR race was postponed due to rain at Watkins Glen, and so ESPN will have coverage for you tomorrow at noon. Defending race champion Kyle Busch looks to score another win and get back into the chase picture. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen. Coverage begins tomorrow at noon Eastern on ESPN.
Who won Pocono last week?
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead, John.
Who do you think?
You handle that one.
That's a base hit right over Andy Pettit off the bat of Nick Green. And Pettit hit the deck.
Nick Green has 2 base hits, and Andy Pettit was just trying to get out of the way. He wasn't trying to catch this one. Ooh. Yeah, he was not trying to catch that one. Watch his action here. He's not trying to catch it. He's just trying to get out of the way, which is smart. I'm off. I get confused sometimes when they hit balls back through the middle. The guys try to have a kick save. They stick their leg out there, man.
Never a good idea.
Never a good idea.
Now Jacoby Ellsbury. That's 5 hits for the Red Sox, who left the bases loaded in the 4th inning. Leadoff man Ellsbury bunted back toward the mound, and Pettit will go for him. Got to make a decision early with Ellsbury, because you hesitate, he just might end up beating it out.
Well, the one thing he was trying to do, I thought there, was drag it or something, but he bunted it right back to Pettit. Because when you have the speed of Ellsbury, you do not just give yourself up. You know, you still try to get the guy over, but you don't just give yourself up. So he just should have been trying to drag that to first base anyway, but he dragged it right back to the pitcher. Because you don't give yourself up when you have that kind of speed.
That is only the 11th sacrifice bunt this season for the Red Sox, and 2 of those were by John Lester in an interleague road game. So here is Dustin Pedroia, a runner in scoring position. So far tonight, Red Sox have only had 2 men come to the plate with a runner in scoring position, but until now they had not gotten a runner that far until they were already 2 down in the inning.
Well, Pedroia is a good guy to have up there with a runner in scoring position, because he will put the ball in play, and he's hitting .347 with runners in scoring position. So he will give you a good effort there, because he will put the ball in play.
The other thing is that if the Red Sox are going to come out of this and the offense is going to get going, I think this team right now is Dustin Pedroia and Kevin Youkilis's team. They're the grit of this team. They're the ones that need to start to get this thing going and turn this slump around.
I actually go ahead. No, I think you're right in one respect, Steve, but these 2 guys, especially the Pedroia, they don't make you win or lose. He's kind of a support for what you already have. If they don't get someone like Big Papi or Jason Bay back, the big boppers, then even as good as Youkilis is and as good as Pedroia is, they can't carry this team by themselves. See, when I look at A-Rod, he can carry a team for a week. I look at Teixeira, they can carry a team for a week. I look at Big Papi, you know, the former Big Papi, we'll say. He could carry the team. I don't think Pedroia can carry this team for any length of time. Youkilis can do pretty well, but if they do not get one of those big boppers back, either Ortiz or Jason Bay, they're going to struggle, in my opinion, for a lot this year offensively. But you have 2 of the better players in the league, in Pedroia and Youkilis there.
And when we're struggling, I wanted a Joe Morgan, that gritty guy, to get me the hit, and I want that to get us off the schneid a little bit and get moving.
I understand, but I'm just saying carrying the team,
you're right,
is different.
Shallow right field, Cano out, and Swisher calls him off. Not this time for Pedroia. And not right now, not for a few days.
But actually,
for the Red Sox.
If I'm trying to get out of a scoreless streak, I would have rather for him to be hitting with runners second base. But see, if you don't have runners in scoring position, how do you get started? You have to have those big boppers.
Yeah.
You know, as I said earlier, the Yankees have won a lot of different ways this year. They played poorly in a couple of games where they didn't even have guys on base until the 6th inning. And guess what? Teixeira, A-Rod, they hit a big fly, get them started, and and they'd go from there. So you need some of that in your lineup, and I just don't see it in this Boston lineup right now.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you have those sluggers like Teixeira and A-Rod, or Albert Pujols and Holiday, whatever, they can pitch around you if your bases are always empty. But you put a couple of those guys ahead of them, get on base a lot, and that kind of forces their hand. At some point, they have to throw you a strike, and that's when you're at risk.
I agree. I'm a big Pedroia fan, but I just don't think that he's the one that can carry this team. He can get on base, like you're saying, for those guys, and he can drive in the runs for you if you get him in scoring position. But see, when A-Rod steps in the batter's box, he's in scoring position. Teixeira, those kind of guys, they can carry you.
And the curveball to Victor Martinez. 1 ball, 1 strike, runner at second. And Victor Martinez, this was why the Red Sox went so aggressively after him. A proven RBI man, an outstanding hitter, and really I think the plum acquisition before the trading deadline among teams looking for hitting.
Right.
The Phillies got Cliff Lee, a great acquisition. And the changeup way off the outside.
If you look at Victor Martinez, I mean, Jason Bay had a great start. Remember, he's leading the league in RBIs and so forth. Victor Martinez has 73 RBIs. Jason Bay only has 75. So you see, he was doing well, throughout the years also. So I'm just a big Victor Martinez fan as well. And anytime you can get a guy in the middle of that lineup that's a switch hitter, then you're doing something. That's why Teixeira is so important to the Yankees. And that's why when he was out there on the free agent market, Boston and all these teams coveted him because of that versatility in there.
Like belatedly, the Red Sox went out and got their own version of Teixeira.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get Teixeira, but finally in the stretch run, they went out and got a big bopper at the knees. And Victor Martinez looks a little disgusted with that call.
I think he's thinking that's low, but you take a look at the 4K zone, and I'm not sure it was low. It looked like it was at the knees.
Well, let's look and see if we're correct. It looked pretty good. Yeah, it's not even at the knees.
Not at the knees, no. He jumped at it a little bit, thinking outside, but that pitch is a strike.
2-2 the count, runner at second. and fouled. Came back with a fastball at 91 miles an hour. 2-2 to Victor Martinez, who has flied out to right, grounded out to short. A little bit ago, we had a graphic showing how Victor gotten off to a great start with Cleveland this year, but lately his average had been falling. Wouldn't you know it, he's joined a list of Red Sox guys who were already slumping.
But he got 4 or 5 hits the first week he was there. Didn't in one game.
Yeah, sure did. Had a 5-hit game last Sunday.
Yeah.
That one is too low. 3-2.
That's a very, very close pitch to take right there. And it's obviously a good eye at the plate for Bill Miller with a tendency to take that one off the outside corner. You take a look at the K zone here. See Posada sit up outside, and K zone says he got just the bottom corner.
A lot of times hitters take pitches not because they think it's a ball, because they can't hit it.
And a very defensive swing on that one, and the inning is over. Another man stranded for the Red Sox. Another inning of scoreless for the Red Sox. Here come the Yankees, last of the 5th inning. And Robinson Cano, hitting 7th in the order, leads off against John Lester. No score in the game, and that's off the foot of Cano. Strike 1. He struck out looking his first time. He'll be followed by Melky Cabrera and then Jerry Hairston. And Cano 16 home runs to go with that plus 100 batting average. Quit punching my microphone, will you? You want to speak? Just go ahead and speak. You have to tear my microphone off my head.
Do I need to separate you two?
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
I was actually trying to apologize for talking.
Let me hold you back here.
All right. All of a sudden it was like, oh, sorry. Yeah.
I'll handle the play-by-play from here now.
No, I was actually trying to apologize, Steve, for butting in. I thought he was finished, and he wasn't.
Well, at least now I know that that's your form of offering an apology.
Yeah. You know, I was getting ready to talk about Robinson Cano. He glides into everything. Watch the way his stride is. He glides. There's an old theory about hitting: glide and pop. That's what you want to do. You want to glide into the ball and then pop. See, he doesn't get off. He doesn't have a lot of head movement because he's not jumping. And you take that, I was talking about he and Pedroia. Pedroia is very aggressive, and he kind of jumps into the zone. There are two different kind of hitters. They both get the job done, but they have completely opposite approaches.
Great.
You can talk now, John.
By your leave. But they're two of the top offensive second basemen in baseball.
And also defensively, I think, we get a chance, we're going to see how they approach it defensively. And their personalities are reflected in the way they play second base and the way they hit. Pedroia's kind of an aggressive, gung-ho kind of guy. He has short, quick steps to the ball, and everything he does in the field is like that. Cano plays second base kind of like a shortstop. He glides into the ball, and he uses his arm strength.
But you feel that Cano is, as that changeup is a swinging strike by Cabrera, 1-2 facing Lester here. You feel like he's becoming better and better at second base.
Much better. I mean, you watch him now, he is so good. I mean, he turns the double play as well as anybody, and it's because of his arm strength and his quick release. I mean, he gets rid of the ball quickly, but it's always got something on it. He's become an excellent second baseman as far as I'm concerned. And I think as he continues to focus and get better, he'll continue to get better.
Because his reputation was that he was not that good at second base, and then his offense wasn't that good last year. His star had really fallen here in the Bronx, but he's bounced back nicely this year, and he seems to be better than ever at second base defensively. On the inside corner, another strike 3 looking. That's 5 strikeouts now for Lester, and most of them have been on called third strikes.
Well, John Lester is doing a terrific job of moving the ball around in the zone, and during that at bat he locks up Melky Cabrera on the strike 3 with that fastball in, but it was the changeup on the 1-1 pitch that he got on the chase that set that up. You go soft away, you get the hitter thinking, well, I've got to get out there and cover, and then you end up locking him up with that inside fastball because he's looking away, and then he just can't react enough to be able to handle the speed of that fastball inside.
It was just like the title of Tom Seaver's book, one of your fellow Hall of Famers, Joe. The Art of Pitching.
Correct.
So 4 2/3 shutout innings. Lester's held up his end against his slugging Yankees ball club, but the Red Sox have been without a run 29 consecutive innings. And the last time any Yankee team shut them out for that long a time was 1952. That ball is a foul into the seats down the left field line by Jerry Hairston, who singled his first time. The last time the Red Sox against any team went 29 consecutive innings without a run was 1983. 26 years ago, which was, by the way, another one of your fellow Hall of Famers, right. Carl Yastrzemski's final year as a
you guys are everywhere.
Player.
You guys, you're everywhere.
David Ortiz not in the lineup tonight. He is slumping. And the ball in the dirt, a breaking ball. And Poppy at his press conference yesterday with the union chief, Weiner, and he made the comment that he has never taken steroids, never purchased steroids. It only took supplements and vitamins purchased over the counter here and in the Dominican Republic, and did say that he was careless years ago in what he was purchasing and so on and so forth. So basically denying that, although he was identified as being on the list of 104 players who tested positive for performance enhancing drugs in 2003, denied that he ever took a steroid. And whoever it was that leaked those names never actually also leaked what they were tested positive for. Hairston grounds out. We're going to the 6th inning from Yankee Stadium. The Red Sox are coming up. Youkilis, Bay, and Drew. No score.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell, brought to you by State Farm. To us, nothing's more important than being there. And Autotrader.com. Compare new and used cars in your area, plus review photos and features side by side to find the car you want at the price you want at Autotrader.com.
Curveball for ball one to Kevin Youkilis, the cleanup hitter for the Boston Red Sox. 0-0 score, 6th inning. Andy Pettitte curves him again. That is a strike. Well, he missed with the first one, so tried it again and got the strike. So 1 ball and 1 strike. Youkilis 20 home runs for the year, but tonight he has struck out and lined out to the first baseman. And he asks for time. He's got a very unique approach there at the plate, Joe. The hands are actually spread apart. He's got a bat wrapped around over the top of his head and then brings the hand together at the last moment.
Well, what that does, John, it keeps him from getting tight, squeezing the bat too tight too early.
And a foul back out of play. 1-2.
You see a lot of guys stand there and they're holding the bat and they just start to grip it and they grip it, and by the time the ball comes, they're tied up. See, now he slides it down and it keeps him from gripping the bat tightly too early, and before he swings.
Struck him out. The low slider. And Youkilis is 0 for 3.
Take a look at the 4K zone, and one thing Andy Pettitte has done is changing the hitter's eye level. You go up in the zone, and then you go down in the zone. You come in, you come out, and you end up very difficult for the hitter to cover everything. You see that ball kind of breaking down to the back foot of Kevin Youkilis in the batter's box.
So it goes for Youkilis and the Red Sox here at the time as a breaking ball is fouled into the batter's box. Jason Bay is lined out to right and singled to center. He is 1 for 2.
Joe, we're in the 6th inning, and Andy Pettitte is making a living out of first pitch breaking ball. I mean, this entire night, at some point, someone's got to look for it, I would think, and just make an adjustment, don't they?
On the inside corner, strike 2.
What's the old saying? I'm not going to look for something I can't hit.
Oh, okay.
But no, I agree with you. This first time through the order, a pitcher pitches one way, second time another way, whatever. And you as the hitter, if you see him doing this, you have to adjust to that.
Strike 3 called.
Yeah, but see if he got him looking for it, and then he fires one over the outside corner. I mean, there was a sequence earlier where he reminds me of Mariano Rivera tonight. I mean, every once in a while when he just throws the cutter and the fastball, not the curveball, but just the cutter and the fastball, he kind of reminds me of Mariano Rivera.
That called third strike was the 100th pitch thrown by Pettitte. Here's J.D. Drews hit 2 singles, and he swings and misses at the slider, and it's 0-1. Red Sox have 5 hits. The Red Sox hitters, no hits in 4 at-bats as a team with the runner or runners in scoring position. They've left 6 men on base. Back out of play so quickly. 0-2. And Penitence had some high-stress innings in the 4th inning. They had the bases loaded. He threw 27 pitches. And here in the 6th inning, though, with his pitch count up over 100, he's having his best inning of the night so far. 2 down, nobody on. The 2-strike pitch. In the dirt outside. A ball and 2 strikes to J.D. Drew. Mike Lowell on deck would be next. It's been since 1974 that the Red Sox have not been shut out for 30 consecutive innings. Center field, medium deep. Cabrera on the track.
Every mistake doesn't go out the ballpark, especially in this big ballpark in center field. That was a mistake.
35 years since they were shut out for 30 straight innings. It was September 21st of last year. Yankee Stadium on its original ground hosting its final game. And the winning pitcher for the Yankees that night, fittingly enough, who had won so many big games and big games in October for the Yankees, Andy Pettitte. Mariano Rivera at the final out, retiring Baltimore's Brian Roberts. And that was the end of the original Yankee Stadium on its original ground. It had been a different ballpark and then remodeled back in the mid-70s. And that was part of our coverage here in 20 years of covering Major League Baseball on ESPN as September 2008. Stay tuned. We will also announce the first baseman as voted by fans on ESPN.com for our 20th anniversary All-Star team. Derek Jeter with a 2-0 count has singled tonight and struck out against John Lester. Lester with 5 strikeouts. And he's off the outside.
John Jeter has a very unusual track record against Lester. He came in 7 for 20 in his career, but with 6 strikeouts. Now he's 8 for 22 with 7 strikeouts, which is unusual for a guy like Jeter.
Has a hard time making contact against him, except when he does, it's always for a hit.
Exactly. That's weird. That's a weird combination there. Usually when you strike out a lot against a hitter, you do not make good contact against a pitcher. You do not make a lot of solid contact, but he does. But again, most of the time he stays back through the middle and right center, and that's why he's so good. And when he pulls it, he's out.
Nick Green throws him out. And that's a big out with power coming up. Johnny Damon is next, then Mark Teixeira, then A-Rod. And that would have been a big play for Jeter to get on base in a 0-0 game with those big hitters coming up. Time for our Lowe's home team advantage. And the Yankees are 37-17 in their new home.
Well, these guys are built for this ballpark, John. I mean, you have a lot of fly ball hitters on this team. You have a lot of strikeout pitchers, and that's what works in this ballpark right now, the way it's constructed. They say they're going to make some changes next year so that jet stream doesn't go out the right field, but they also, in a normal day, they can put 6 left-handed hitters in there to shoot at that right field porch.
And that is a Yankee tradition of long standing.
Yeah.
As Johnny Damon takes ball 1 from John Lester, who has not allowed a base runner since Mark Teixeira singled back in the 4th inning. The dimensions are roughly the same, although they say it actually is a little bit shallower in right center than across the street at the now closed Yankee Stadium. 314 down the right field line, 318 down the left field line.
You know, you mentioned to me how big this ballpark looks compared to the other one. And it is. It's twice as big as the other one, but like you said, the capacity is less. This is a 50,000 seat stadium now.
You could get about, what, 56,000 into the Yankee Stadium across the street. And in the original Yankee Stadium, you could get well over 60,000. And they had crowds that were listed as better than 70,000 on occasion at the old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, remember you were talking about how it used to shake over there when we used to do the games there. This one probably doesn't shake.
It trembled on those big home runs in the 2001 World Series on consecutive nights when Tino Martinez one night and Scott Brocious the next night.
That was fabulous.
Hit
wasn't it?
Almost miraculous 2-run homers in the bottom of the 9th with a 2-run deficit. And I thought we were having an earthquake in each night.
Well, you'd know by now if the new stadium would quake, because they've had 169 home runs hit here in 55 games. Last year, 160 home runs, and 160 in the 81 home dates. So the ball is sailing out of here.
And yet, Friday night, it was a scoreless game until A-Rod's homer in the 15th inning. And then yesterday, the Red Sox were shut out again by the Yankees, and the Yankees only had one run up until the 6th inning. Jeter ultimately hit a 2-run homer that likely would not have been a home run in the old Yankee Stadium. He hit right down the right field line. But not because there was a jet stream necessarily, or because it's shallower, but the wall isn't quite as tall out there as Damon is called out on strikes, and that is the 5th time that a Yankee hitter has been called out on strikes out of 6 strikeouts for Lester.
Well, what he does, he paints the outside edge with that fastball, and that's how he's getting the strikes called. He's painting the edge, the inside edge a couple of times to right-handers, and right out there on the outside edge. Look at the target. Well, maybe that's a little bit off the edge, but it's right out there where you can get that call.
Here is Mark Teixeira. And that cutter, 0-1. Now, you talk about the Yankees being a fly ball hitting team and how balls have been flying out of this ballpark. There has not been a fly ball that the Red Sox outfield has had to handle all night against Lester.
That's why that's why he's able to hold them scoreless so far.
They've hit 3 pop-ups. That's
we
the
don't
closest
count
they've
those.
come.
You see,
change of speeds.
That's what I was talking about with Teixeira, though. He stays on his backside, and even on a curveball, that becomes an uppercut swing. I mean, look, if his timing's perfect, he's going to hit it. But that's one of the reasons he has trouble in the early part of the season in April, because he's struggling, and his timing's not perfect yet, and he struggles at the beginning of the season. But a big uppercut there because he stays on his backside so long.
0-2. The fastball is up and in.
Well, let's take a look at this last at bat, and watch, he'll stay back here. His body stays on his, see, his weight is still back there, and that's why. See that uppercut? And that's what he does. But he's also so strong in his upper body that he can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Well, that last at bat in the 4th, he hit a single. The last time the Yankees put a man on base against Lester. That curve is pulled foul.
But that really is an unconventional approach.
Definitely.
I mean, and the fact that he has as much success that he does, it's surprising, because I mean, if that worked, a lot of guys would do it.
Yeah, but you wouldn't teach anybody.
Right, you wouldn't. And it really does, I think, play to he's so strong. I think that strength is a major part of why he has the success with that unconventional approach.
He's on a list with some big names there.
You're right.
25 home runs to start a career. He's done that 7 times in a row, and he is down on strikes. 7 strikeouts for Lester. 9 in a row retired. On to the 7th. Still nothing to nothing. Mike Lowell leads off for the Red Sox. 7th inning against Andy Pettit. Change up high and outside for ball 1. Lowell has walked twice. The only walks allowed by Pettit. He'll be followed by Jason Varitek and then Nick Green. 30 consecutive innings without a run for Boston, and the pop-up goes foul and out of play. In 1974, that was a year where the Red Sox had a pretty big lead near the end of August, and they really just fell apart down the stretch, and the race at the end ended up being between Baltimore and the Yankees. The Yankees were sort of a surprise entrant at the end there. The Yankees were 7.5 ahead in late August and finished 7 games back of the Baltimore Orioles. But in that stretch was a one horrible stretch where Boston did not score for 34 straight innings. That one's hanging, and Swisher. One away.
Well, this was a line drive, and it looked like it might sink, and maybe Swisher was preparing to dive for it, and it stayed up, so he just tumbled anyway. And I don't mind that, because sometimes it's easier to tumble and stop your body than it is to try to stop quickly. You may strain your muscle or something, but see, the ball just stayed up there, so he just, makes a tumble. He probably had a little gymnastics in his high school days or something.
But you look at that with a shallow wall in right field. That's taking away a base hit. That another ballpark with a different dimensions where the outfielder plays a little bit deeper. You see that W.B. Mason sign that right out here. This is where I think the depth is different now than it was back in the old Yankee Stadium, where I think that the angle of that right center field gap is different. I think it had a different angle. It went a little bit deeper out through that gap than this does here. And that's why you've seen so many home run balls go out to right field.
Jason Varitek with a swing and a miss of that Pettit curveball. Varitek is struck out with 2 men on to end the second and lined out to left with the bases loaded to end the fourth. You see that right center field area, and I think they've measured it, and it is 8 or 10 feet shallower than it was at the old ballpark. Out number 2 as Jerry Hairston throws out Varitek. Now, Pettit had thrown 104 pitches coming into this inning, and the Yankee bullpen has been busy all this while. A little while ago, it was Brian Bruni. And that was not Bruni, of course, but Bruni was standing on the mound out there as Nick Green flies out to center. A 7-pitch inning for Andy Pettit. 2 of his best innings of the night have been the last 2. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. Yankee Stadium in New York. The Yankees trying to make it a clean 4-game sweep of the Red Sox. It is 0-0 as we go to the last of the 7th inning. Now all week long, viewers have been helping us celebrate our 20th season of Major League Baseball on ESPN at the MLB page at ESPN.com, voting for the first baseman of our 20th year All-Star team. Albert Pujols, Frank Thomas, and Mark McGwire were the nominees, and according to the votes of the fans, Albert Pujols in a landslide was the winner. 78% of the vote. Albert, who just got his 100th RBI of this season already. Go to ESPN.com tomorrow to make your pick for the All-Star second baseman of our 20 years of baseball coverage on ESPN.
I have to admit, I was a little surprised Mark McGwire got 9% of the vote.
Good point. John, this is the time of the game, though, when you're an opposing team, you have to worry if your pitcher's starting to lose a little bit, and you've got guys like A-Rod coming up. Posada, these right-handed hitters that can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
So far, it doesn't look like Lester's losing too much.
Yeah, but you know what he's done? He's gone to the sinker there. He's not throwing that riding fastball. That's the sinking fastball there. Excellent choice of pitches, of course, in this situation.
He's thrown 94 pitches for the night. Alex Rodriguez is grounded out to third and also bounced one that was handled by the catcher who threw him out. That ball is hit deep. That ball is way back there, and goodbye. For the second time in 3 nights, A-Rod breaks a 0-0 tie with a home run. He did it in the 15th inning to end the game on Friday here in the 7th inning against Lester. And there was something about Lester that caused you to make an observation, Joe.
Well, I just know when you get to this point in the ball game, John, that's when the sluggers come out. And that's why I was saying I think Boston's going to need their sluggers back if they're going to win the division. Right now, all the sluggers are on wearing pinstripes tonight. And when you get to this point of the game, you lose a little off your fastball, and the big hitters can take over.
Here is Posada. Changeup low.
John Lester's been having great success pounding Alex Rodriguez inside, but they set up inside and he left the ball out over the plate. Jason Varitek went to that spot where they've had success, and it was a mistake.
Well, that's what happens, though. You know, I mean, you can't pitch a perfect game. No one can, except Don Larson. But in these situations, maybe, or Mark Burley lately. But I mean, when you're a pitcher, you're going to make some mistakes. And Burley made some mistakes in his game. Larson made some mistakes in their game. It's just a matter of whether they're going to hit them or not. You can't be perfect all night long. You try to get in, and eventually you leave something out over the plate with some of these sluggers.
That was the first base run, the first hit for the Yankees since the 4th inning. And that's a base hit for Posada.
See, they've already seen him 2 or 3 times. And let's take a look at the sequence here. Let's look at the at-bat. As you said, they're trying to pound him in. That pitch is down, but he's in. Look where the target is. That one he got in. Now here's the mistake right there. He got it down and over the plate. And in fact, looks like the exact same pitch that Tazawa threw another day, only it wasn't a breaking ball, but in the same spot. And it looks like to me that A-Rod is hitting that low pitch very, very well right now.
John Farrell, the pitching coach for the Red Sox, out to have a visit with John Lester, who was breezing through the Yankee lineup. He had allowed only 3 hits, all singles. He had retired 9 in a row. And then suddenly A-Rod with a home run, which was estimated at 425 feet. That's where it landed from home plate. And now a single to right by Posada. The first inning of the game in which the Red Sox young ace left-hander has given up more than 1 hit. And Bard, the right-hander, is up in the Boston bullpen. Daniel Bard. And that's just off the outside to Nick Swisher, a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Swisher has struck out looking and popped up to second. The Yankees had not even hit a fly ball in this game. The only balls that had reached the outfield were 3 singles.
That was a big fly, a truly big fly.
To Swisher, who also has power. Swisher with 18 home runs this year. Alex Rodriguez, by the way, that home run was the 574th of his career, and that moves him ahead of one of the all-time greats, the Hall of Famer Harmon Killebrew. And A-Rod is now in 9th place all-time on the list of home run sluggers. Killebrew had 573 in his remarkable big league career.
Joe, goes to your point about Pedroia for the Red Sox being a guy you want to try to get a hit, but it's a hit, a single or a double. For Alex Rodriguez, when he hits it, it goes out of the ballpark.
Yeah, those guys are in scoring position when they walk in the batter's box.
He has passed Killebrew tonight, and next on the list is Mark McGwire and then Frank Robinson. Killebrew now 10th place all time, and he passed the former great Yankee Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson earlier this year. And that is a walk. No. Swisher thought it was a walk.
Yeah,
he took off for first. I was just watching Swisher. I thought he knew. 3-1.
Let's take a look at this Ford K zone here and see who was correct. Well, I think the umpire was correct, John.
He didn't see the Ford K zone on that one.
Well, what happens is they watch where they catch the ball. When you're standing on the side, you look at where the ball is being caught, and he caught it low, but when it crosses the front of the plate, it's above the knees.
And off his foot, foul ball, strike 2. Swisher is a guy who gets a lot of walks. He walked 70 times this year. Even though his average was only 245 at game time, his on-base average 379.
And you like that. I mean, you know, when you have a guy who's a regular player, I mean, if he can walk and get on base, and then when he does make contact and hit some home runs, you're talking about a guy with 18 home runs and 70 walks. That's a pretty productive player for a guy batting, you know, 6th, 7th in your lineup most nights.
Well, Joe Girardi really likes him, and he likes what he does for his ball club, especially down at the bottom of the order. You can hit the ball out of the ballpark or get on base. He does both.
That's hit softly to third. Youkilis throws him out with Posada moving over to second. And that is the first out of the inning. The Yankees have a runner in scoring position. The scheduled NASCAR race at Watkins Glen was postponed due to rain today. So now tomorrow at noon, ESPN will have the coverage. Kyle Busch, the defending race champion, will look to score another win and get back into the chase picture. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen. Coverage at noon Eastern on ESPN tomorrow.
John, I go back to something you were talking about passing Reggie Jackson recently, and as only Reggie can state it. Reggie said to me at the Hall of Fame, he said, Joe, after 150 years, I was 6th or 7th. He said in the last 15 months, I dropped to 10th.
That's toward the middle. Pedroia gets to it from his knees, up to his feet, and he throws out Cano as Posada goes to 3rd, and that saved a run, and he showed some range, and he also showed that great balance getting back to his feet to get his man.
Well, what he did so nicely there, John, is he stayed low, so if he had to, he could dive and knock the ball down. See, watch how low he stays right there. See, he actually slides down to get it, and he gets up and throws Cano out. But he uses his feet, quick feet, very quick. Watch his feet. Look at that, boom, boom, boom. Now, well, in slow motion, but he's very quick. Uses his feet, gets over in front up to the side. Now he gets up and throws him out. And if that play was the same play for Cano, you would have seen him glide over, so to speak, grab it, and use the strength of his arm to throw the runner out.
You really see their personalities both in the way they hit and they field for both Pedroia and Cano.
Correct.
Melky Cabrera, the hitter, and a curveball off the outside for ball 1. Well, he needed to keep that ball in the infield at the very least, whether he got the guy who hit it or not. He had to keep the ball from going to the outfield.
And he stayed low going after it. That was what he was making sure he could accomplish.
1 ball, no strikes to Cabrera. And the curveball. This is not an easy play for Youkilis, and he just got him. Youkilis is playing deep, and the ball was hit very softly. So just the 1 run for the Yankees. A-Rod's home run. Top of the order for the Red Sox, trailing 1-0.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And in part by One-A-Day Men's 50-Plus Advantage. Get more of what matters to you. And Cabot Wood Stains. Our performance is legendary.
Sunday Night Baseball. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan and Steve Phillips. And this is the very impressive new home of the New York Yankees. Our first Sunday night telecast from here. And the Yankees are leading the Red Sox 1-0, but Andy Pettitte is finished for the evening. 112 pitches through 7. And now Phil Koch will come on in relief, and Koch with a 4.7 earned run average. And 46 innings, only 34 hits allowed. And the idea now is to get the ball to Mariano Rivera, the great Rivera, who most of the time you get it to him with a lead of any kind. In the 9th inning, the game's over.
And they've even started using him more and more in the 8th inning.
He's had 7 saves of 4 outs or more where he's come on in the 8th inning. And Koch starts the left-handed hitting Ellsbury with a called strike.
Well, Joe Girardi just raves about Phil Koch and what he's meant to his bullpen this year. He's one of those unique left-handers that does a great job neutralizing a left-handed bat, but he can stay in and get right-handed hitters out as well.
He is from California's gold country. He was born in Sonora in Northern California, in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. Now center stage at Yankee Stadium. Red Sox Yankees in a 1-run game. The slider misses. 2 balls and a strike to Ellsbury. Jonathan Papelbon, the outstanding Boston closer, he's had nothing to close here for a while. Yankees have not won or rather the Red Sox have not won a game since last weekend when they were in Baltimore. And a foul out of play off to the left. Since they left Baltimore, they've had 2 losses in St. Petersburg, Florida, to the contending Rays, who are just behind them in the East and also in the wild card division, and 3 in a row they've lost here. 1981 was the last time they were shut out for 3 straight games. That was by the Texas Rangers at the end of April in 1981, a series, by the way, that I broadcast as a Red Sox broadcaster with the late Ken Coleman. Strike 3 call. A big man to keep off the bases in a 1-run game. Now to the studio, Steve Berthume with the Sports Center right now.
John, Sunday's World Golf Championship final round turned on the 16th at Firestone. Tiger Woods knocked this 8-iron to within tap-in birdie range, while leader Patty Harrington triple bogeyed the hole. Tiger wins for the second straight week, now heads to the PGA looking for his 15th major. And rain washed out NASCAR's Sprint Cup race at Watkins Glen. You can see the race Monday, noon Eastern on ESPN. Sports Center follows the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Dustin Pedroia, the hitter now. Thank you, Steve. And there's ball one. Pedroia has flied out 3 straight times. None of the first 4 Boston hitters in the lineup have reached base in any way. None of the 4 have even hit a force out to reach base. Ellsbury 0 for 3 with a sacrifice bunt. Pedroia is 0 for 3. Victor Martinez on deck is 0 for 3. Cleanup man Youkilis is 0 for 3. And they change up off the outside, which is what Ellsbury thought that pitch called strike 3 was to him.
Well, we talked early in the game. Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, is a guy who tends to expand the outside part of the plate. That's a big strikeout, though, because Ellsbury getting on, a guy with 50 stolen bases this year, you can manufacture a run. If you're not driving the ball, you're not hitting home runs, the next best thing is get your leadoff man on who can steal. And that's what that call did, is it allowed that at bat to end and not extend it to give Ellsbury a chance to get on base.
And John, I was talking about the difference between Cano and Pedroia. Watch how Pedroia, so he jumps into the ball.
And that's a base hit into left center. He takes the big turn at first, and Cabrera hurries the ball back in. And Cano was ready to relay it back to first, but saw that Pedroia had scurried back to the bag.
Now watch Pedroia, how he jumps into the ball, and we'll see Cano again in this game, I'm sure. Now watch how he jumps into it. See, look at all the movement there and how hard he swings. A lot different from Cano, but they both get the job done. I mean, he keeps his head on the ball, eyes right there, but he's very aggressive, and he jumps. I mean, he actually jumps into the ball.
Not a lot of grace in his swing. No.
A lot of grace in Cano. He glides into the ball. But, hey, they both get the job done.
A lot of effort at exhibiting brute force.
Exactly.
So he's aboard. He's the possible tying run. Here is Victor Martinez, 0 for 3 in the game. And a foul. 0-1 the count to Victor Martinez with Youkilis on deck. These are the big guys for the Red Sox, with Big Papi not in the lineup tonight. Ortiz, who has been struggling mightily, who's been in the center of the storm after his name and his former teammate Manny Ramirez's name were leaked to the media on the list of 104 players who tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs 6 years ago. He's been answering questions nightly about that before games, and the Boston clubhouse had the press conference here yesterday, and he allowed us how it has been weighing on him. But this has been the season of his discontent long before his name was ever leaked out there, attached to the performance-enhancing drug tests from 6 years ago.
But Terry Francona said he could see that it was weighing on him, and he just looks tired.
Since his name was released in that report, hitting 171, and that's gotten worse as time has gone on. The changeup from Koch is up and away. 1-2 to Martinez.
And I'm a little bit surprised that Joe Girardi doesn't have Rivera up in this situation. I mean, you've got a 1-0 game, and to sweep the Boston Red Sox, I mean, this is one of those days that if you get in trouble in the 8th inning, you may want to bring Rivera in for that 4-out. Now, he's up and stretching a little bit, but has not thrown yet. And I think it's going to be difficult to get ready quickly enough to handle a situation if they need him.
And that slider on the hands pulled foul by Victor Martinez. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he may not want to get him up right now, Steve, because yesterday he got him up. He was going to pitch the 9th inning, and the Yankees scored 3 more runs, you know, to put it out of a save situation, and he sat back down. So he threw a lot yesterday, and maybe that's why he doesn't want to use him in this 4-out save or 5-out save today, because he was ready to come in, and all of a sudden Derek Jeter hit a home run to cap off the inning.
Dangerous and powerful Victor Martinez. A ball and 2 strikes. That ball is hit well. That ball is way back there. It's on its way, and adios. A two-run homer for Martinez. And that bolt of lightning is what the Red Sox have been lacking for several days. For the first time since Thursday night, they have scored a run, and now they lead the Yankees 2-1.
And that's why we were talking at the trading deadlines. I thought this guy's addition to the Red Sox was going to be the most important addition of all because he can play different positions and he brings a thunderous bat from both sides to their lineup, and they were in desperate need of something like that. Well, this pitch ends up hanging right in the middle of the plate. Starts with a sinker down, and that's what he was trying to do, get the ground ball. You're trying to get the ground ball. He hits the ground ball. That change up there was just really bad. And he's going to come back right there. I mean, look at that, right almost in the middle, belt high.
It was interesting to me that the two breaking balls that Martinez swung at and fouled off, he was way out in front and pulled them down the line. Then he came back with a fastball, and it was the velocity, it was the speed at which Martinez was swinging the bat. He actually did him a favor, I think, by going back to the fastball.
Definitely.
2-1 Boston, and here is Kevin Youkilis. Rips one into left field. That is a base hit.
And you take a look at Martinez here, and he ends up getting the fastball over the plate. The two pitches before that he swung at, he pulled them into the stands down the left field line on the breaking balls, but he got the fastball and drove it. Not a lot of wasted movement there. Tell you what, power from both sides of the plate. He can hit for average, and I agree. Earlier we talked about he is going to be a leader on this team. He really wants to contribute. Big Papi appreciates it.
Now, ordinarily we would have expected to see Phil Hughes in the 8th inning. He's become the 8th inning setup man for the Yankees, especially in a one-run game, as the bridge to Mariano Rivera to close the game. But they had the 15-inning game on Friday, and Phil Hughes worked in that game. He also worked yesterday. He worked just briefly in each of those games.
Yeah,
but he did get all heated up and warmed up for each game. Chad Godin, just acquired from the San Diego Padres, is now up in the Yankee bullpen, just placed on the roster today after his acquisition.
Well, Hughes pitched 1/3 of an inning in relief of Sabathia yesterday in the 8th inning. But I'm also, like Steve, what would it mean to sweep the Red Sox? So you have to break out all stops, that's so much all hands on deck kind of thing. And maybe use Phil Hughes for 1/3 of an out again, and then let Mariano Rivera get a 4-out save.
Jason Bay, the hitter. That's hit very softly. Jeter gets one. Cano to first. Double play.
And that's that quick release that he has at second base with something on it.
Mazeroski-like.
Yeah, but with a stronger arm.
But Victor Martinez has launched one, and the Boston Red Sox are leading 2-1. Now the Yankees with a 2-1 deficit after Victor Martinez 2-run homer, as they come up, and there is Daniel Bard into the game, and Hideki Matsui is going to be the pinch hitter for Jerry Hairston, batting for the Yankees here in the last of the 8th inning. And Matsui, a powerful left-handed hitter who is hitting .263, got 16 homers in 300 at bats this year. Bard, young right-hander, and he has got a great arm. 24 years old, from Houston, Texas. Blew that one by at 98 miles an hour.
I don't know if Matsui can catch up with this fastball. He's going to have to turn it up 2 notches, not 1.
Not up in the zone like that. He's not going to. That's the one thing you want to do. See the spot right here? Watch that right there where the velocity pops up, because this kid can light up the radar gun.
But again, Joe Girardi did not use Phil Hughes in the 8th inning. Hughes had worked 2 straight days, but had not worked a lot. He threw 4 pitches here yesterday in the 8th inning. Struck out the only man he faced in relief of Sabathia, and then he threw 5 pitches and got the only man he faced in relief of Burnett in Friday night's ball game. As the left-hander Okajima, the right-hander Papelbon up in the Boston bullpen. But nonetheless, after working for 2 straight days, Hughes not used tonight by Joe Girardi, and there's a called strike. You know how they had with Jabba Chamberlain when he first came up from the minor leagues as a relief pitcher? They had the Jabba rules, and I'm wondering maybe they have Phil Hughes rules as well. He's not a very old guy either. Maybe they don't want him to work 3 days in a row because that was his spot. And the fastball is up and away at 98 miles an hour. 3-2. Hughes with his head in his hands out there in the bullpen, so he's out there. I don't know if he's got his head in his hands saying, I can't believe he didn't put me in there.
He's got that look on his face a little bit there.
Believe it. Right to the second baseman, Pedroia, down to his right knee to get it. And Matsui is out number 1. Major League Baseball congratulates the Los Angeles Urban Youth Academy junior and senior boys, 2 different teams, the junior and senior boys, on winning the championships of the 2009 RBI World Series presented by KPMG. And we add our congratulations to the Los Angeles Urban Youth Academy junior and senior boys, both victorious at the RBI World Series. Here's Derek Jeter. The Yankees trailing 2-1 in the 8th inning. After being shut out for 31 consecutive innings by Yankee pitching, it was Victor Martinez, the man they acquired just before the trading deadline, in really a blockbuster trade, and I think one that caught a lot of people by surprise. And it was Victor Martinez' 2-run homer that has put the Red Sox ahead, and he did it against his new arch rival, the Yankees. Check swing, and that ball inadvertently ends up a fair ball, and Bard retires Jeter. He didn't mean to swing.
A little bit of an excuse me as he checks a swing, and this kind of velocity, you've got to get yourself going a little bit, and if you move out of the way, you don't have that ability to check a swing, look out, and control where the bat is. And Derek Jeter says, ow, this thing's getting in on my hands right here. It's going to take a bite out of me. And yeah, he said ouch right there. And Joe, with this kind of velocity, what do you do as a hitter? I mean, do you speed yourself up?
Well, you don't think about that. You want the bat, you want to swing quicker, not harder. Quicker, not harder.
Johnny Damon, 2 down and nobody on. Bard pitched in the 15-inning game here on Thursday night. He got the last 2 outs of the 9th inning. Threw 18 pitches in that game. He's only given up 1 home run this year, but that was on Tuesday night in St. Petersburg, Florida. That ball is crushed. Way back. It's gone. And now he's given up another one.
See, John, quicker, not harder.
Oh, that's what you meant.
Yeah, well, you get the head of the bat out there quicker by using your hands more than using your body. I mean, Albert Pujols, the guys will tell you, swing quicker, and what you do is use your hands more so that your hands are quicker, not your body. When you swing hard, you use your body. So you want to swing quicker, not harder.
And you got another powerful hitter up here. Everybody's standing at Yankee Stadium. Mark Teixeira, and a slider in there for a strike. Johnny Damon came out and took a bow. Teixeira is 1 for 3. On Tuesday in St. Petersburg, Bard in the 8th inning gave up a home run to Evan Longoria that tied up that game. A game that the Rays eventually won. That ball is hit high in the air, down the right field line, into the corner, on its way. Goodbye. Second deck.
Once the guy gets touched up on his best pitch fastball, he goes to his breaking ball. Now, we talked about these guys hitting a lot of fly balls. Well, watch Teixeira. Again, he stays on his backside, and this is a breaking ball, and he just swings with his arms and his upper body and hits it halfway up in the second deck. look at Johnny Damon. This is a low fastball. And remember, I said these guys hit a lot of fly balls. Even though the ball is down, you'll see Damon get the ball in the air. Now watch, the pitch is down, but he still gets it in the air because he's a fly ball hitter. That's the way he is. Now watch the slight uppercut there. I mean, that's what these Yankee hitters are. They're fly ball hitters, and this broadcast suits them perfectly. See, that's a fly ball in the right center field. It goes over the wall. Now watch him stay on his backside. See how he drops his back shoulder, and he gets underneath it.
Ball one to Alex Rodriguez. It was A-Rod who homered leading off the 7th against Lester for the first run of the game. Now he comes up after consecutive home runs by Damon and Teixeira within a span of 3 pitches by Daniel Bard. Two and 0. Teixeira's ball was about 8 miles in the air, and he knew it was gone as soon as he hit it, with maybe one moment where he wondered, is it going to stay fair? But it was plenty fair and way up into the second deck. His 29th home run this year. And that was also the 100th home run the Yankees have hit in their new ballpark this year. Now, they are new teammates. This is their first year they've played together, and yet already 6 times.
Wow.
Damon, who has 21 homers, and Teixeira with 29 have gone back-to-back and cheek to cheek, as the Yankee broadcaster John Sterling likes to say.
Yeah, but that's a Yankee record. What about Mantle and Maris?
The great Rivera, as you would expect, is up in the Yankee bullpen. They did not use Hughes for the 8th inning. They will use Mariano Rivera in the 9th. 3-1 to A-Rod. And he walks.
I'll tell you, Johnny Damon is having some kind of year this year. Mark Teixeira as well. And this Yankee offense, so many weapons.
Hideki Okajima is going to be summoned into the game by manager Terry Francona. Damon and Teixeira both going yard. 3-2 Yankees. We'll be back. Mark Teixeira with a majestic home run. A Ruthian clout.
Yeah.
Here at the new Yankee Stadium.
Well, John, watch. He stays on his backside, like I told you, but watch that back shoulder, how it goes underneath. And this is why he hits so many fly balls. Look where that back shoulder is. Everything uppercut. I mean, that's why he hits so many fly balls. That's why he hits the ball out of the ballpark. He stays on his backside, and he's going to get more balls in the air than anyone because of it on certain pitches. He can hit any pitch in the air because he's on his back foot, and there's that arc in his swing is on an upward plane.
Jorge Posada is the hitter, and there is Hideki Okajima in from the Boston bullpen. That one disappeared, and it's 0-1. Okajima ordinarily comes in when the Red Sox are leading by 1, 2, 3 runs late in the game, as Damon and Teixeira compare home run notes. It was Damon into right center, and then Teixeira launched one, his soaring blast into the second deck. The Red Sox had the lead just for a few minutes. And that fastball is in there for a strike. Now Marty Aronoff says they had the lead for 10 minutes.
Was it that long?
Fleeting glory for Victor Martinez.
Yeah. Well, it looked like it was fleeting glory for A-Rod also for a moment there.
A-Rod homered in the 7th, and the Yankees had the first lead of the game, 1-0. And that lead lasted just a few minutes until Victor Martinez' 2-run homer in the 8th. And that lead lasted for 10 minutes until Teixeira followed Damon's homer to put the Yankees ahead. And that's down the right field line into the corner. Extra bases for Posada. Drew gets it back in. A-Rod stops at third. A stand-up double for Posada, and the hits just keep on coming for the Yankees.
Well, I was watching Alex run there. He definitely is not running well. I mean, he normally would have been able to score, you know, the healthy Rodriguez maybe, or give it a chance to score on that play. But from first base, I was watching him, and when he gets halfway to third, it's like he's running out of gas or starting to hurt him, and he has to slow down. Now watch, this is, he starts on, well, see right there, you can see he's got a little hitch in that get along, and right there he just slows up. He can't make it.
His stride's not as long as it was before.
Right.
It's almost like he's shortening his stride, because if he gets the full extension, he's going to feel something in that hip.
So now the Yankees with a 1-run lead, which often is plenty enough for Mariano Rivera, but they're threatening to open it up still more. Swisher the hitter. And that, Swisher says, hit him in the shirt. But Bill Miller, the plate umpire, didn't think so.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're Swisher,
Right.
why do you want to hit?
Right, stay there.
Yeah, why do you don't want to hit? You got 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I want to hit?
I don't get that.
Yeah.
And the man on deck is a left-handed hitter.
But I mean, forget who's on deck. I'm the hitter. I want to drive in those runs.
There's Cano.
Yeah. That's that old saying, and we'll leave it up to the next guy.
Yeah. So watch Nick Swisher. He looks up to the sky in every at-bat before the pitch comes in, and an honor to his grandparents that helped raise him.
Did that hit him? I guess not. 2-0 the count this way. Well, he may not be interested in pitching to him anyway.
Yeah. But I would be interested in hitting. I mean, you got runners in second and third.
And Nick Swisher, grandparents raised him, and he looks up to the sky before every at-bat and after every hit. In remembrance of the grandparents.
Ooh. Right up the middle. Base hit. A-Rod scores. Posada scores. 5-2 Yankees. And Swisher, who wanted to go to first base, has to settle for the 2 RBI single instead.
Maybe he still thought he was playing with the A's. He just wanted to get on base. Well, a good job by Swisher after initially not wanting to go. Fastball in, and he doesn't drill it, but he hits it up the middle for a base hit to center field, and Posada and A-Rod both come in to score. Give the Yankees a little padding for that lead.
So 4 runs are in for the Yankees. And here is Cano, who is 0 for 3. 5-2 Yankees. This has been another aspect of Boston's bad week. They've lost 5 in a row coming into play tonight. Their bullpen, which was a great source of strength earlier this year, has been getting beat up and really overtaxed. 4 2/3 here on Thursday as John Smoltz got knocked out early. 7 2/3 innings on Friday in relief. That's a base hit. Everybody's doing it. 6 straight Yankees have reached base, and all of this happened after there were 2 down with nobody on base.
We saw those bullpen numbers, and Red Sox were the best bullpen in the American League statistically, but it's gotten away from them because they're pitching their guys out of the pen because they have to, not because they want to. They get short outings, they go extra innings, and the more work you get, the more fatigued you get, the more you get yourself into trouble. John Farrell out there trying to calm them down. They don't want to have to go to the pen for another pitcher here. Hope Okajima can get them out of this inning.
Fernando Cabrera, you saw, the right-hander there. This is Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. We're at Yankee Stadium in New York, the 4th game of a series, and the Red Sox, in a 0-0 tie, finally scored a run, their first run since the 9th inning on Thursday night when Victor Martinez hit a 2-run homer. That was 1 inning after A-Rod had homered for the first run of the game, and it put the Yankees ahead. We have a seesaw battle going here. A night that it belonged to the pitchers. Andy Pettit of the Yankees, who had 7 shutout innings. Lester of the Red Sox, who had a shutout until A-Rod's home run leading off the 7th. But now here in the 8th inning, Damon homered to tie it. Teixeira right after that homer to give the Sox the lead. And now 2 runs later, they've got 2 men on, 2 men out. And the ball hit foul by Melky Cabrera, who is the 9th batter of the inning. After the first 2 hitters, Hideki Matsui, a pinch hitter, Derek Jeter, both grounded out against Daniel Bard. That is when the Yankees erupted. They have scored 4 times here in the 8th inning so far, all after 2 were down. Jeter grounded out and didn't even mean to swing the bat. He checked his swing, and the ball inadvertently glanced off the bat back to the pitcher. And no Yankee has been retired since then. And that curveball down and in to Melky Cabrera. Mark Teixeira, after Damon's homer tied the game, launched a spectacular aerial shot to right field up into the second deck. That one followed, it traced the arc of the Matterhorn over in Switzerland. A definite majestic blast. Off the fists, Nick Green. And he throws out Cabrera, and at long last the inning is over. It was 2-1 Boston for just a few minutes until Johnny Damon homered to tie the game. 2 pitches later, Teixeira. And the Yankees are back ahead. Home run derby in the Bronx. On to the 9th inning, the great Rivera coming in.
Presented by Toyota.
MLB.TV, the ultimate baseball experience, featuring 100 out-of-market games per week live on your computer. For more details, visit MLB.TV, where baseball is always on. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, our 20th season. And for the Boston Red Sox, hard times in the Bronx. And they are 3 outs away and having to face Mariano Rivera, no less, from falling still further behind the Yankees in the American League's Eastern Division. The Yankees began the day with a 5.5 game lead over Boston as it was. So here is Rivera. J.D. Drew, the hitter, and the cutter over the outside, a little backdoor cutter for a strike at 91 miles an hour. He doesn't throw that 95, 96 mile an hour fastball cutter as he used to, at least not regularly, but he's still just as effective as ever. Rivera has had a remarkable season, a 1.91 ERA and 31 saves, 47 innings pitched, 36 hits allowed, and he's had 52 strikeouts and walked only 6 as Ramiro Pena is taken over at third base. And that's a base hit to right field, the 3rd hit of the night for J.D. Drew.
Well, the key to Mariano Rivera is not the velocity, but it's the movement and the control. He has such great control that he's almost unhittable. He's right on the edges all the time with the cut fastball or the fastball or the four-seam fastball, which he throws a lot now. Let's see where this pitch is. That one gets more of the plate than normal, but he is normally right in on the edges of the plate.
Also keep in mind, he's had great success in his outstanding career, but the Red Sox have roughed him up more than any other team by far.
And most of that's done in Boston.
Like the other thing to keep in mind is they get a couple base runners on. You've got David Ortiz on the bench as a possibility. Nick Green's spot coming up in the 9-hole, and Terry Francona has a power bat to go to.
Mike Lowell, the count 1 ball 1 strike. Mariano Rivera, 91 games against Boston, 44 saves, but 12 blown saves, and he's also had a couple of big blown saves in the postseason, in particular 2004 against Boston. And that's what happened to that wide strike zone.
That's that cut fastball right off the corner of the plate right there. It did not get the call, and that really can change it at bat. That goes from a 1-2 count to a 1-2 count in a significant advantage for Rivera.
So now 2 balls and 1 strike to Lowell. He's walked twice and flied out to right. This is to right to Swisher. 1 away.
We're talking about David Ortiz, still on the Red Sox bench, hitting .333 in his career against Rivera with a home run. So he's had some success against that cutter in.
But no helmet, no bat. for Big Papi, who's only had one hit in his last 24 at bats. Only 1 for 14 in the first 3 games of this series.
Well, I'm wondering if this is a mental day for Ortiz, because you would think that he would be swinging the bat. Although Nick Green has had 2 base hits in the ball game.
What did Terry Francona call that last year? And again, they called it his mental health day.
Mental health day, yeah.
Strike 1 to Varitek. Now he's over grabbing a helmet.
His mental health day is over.
Well, if they get another man on base, the next hitter would be the possible tying run. Nick Green is out on deck. Just off the outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rivera with 31 saves this year, as we mentioned, but 32 opportunities. He only had 1 blown save this year. As Green will go back to the dugout, and David Ortiz has come out on deck.
The crowd hasn't quite recognized that he's on deck yet, because when they do, they'll let him hear it.
No, again. 2-1 to Varitek, who has gone 0 for 3 tonight. Varitek, 10 hits in 33 lifetime at bats against Rivera, with a home run. There's Big Papi with Rivera center stage. Big Papi on deck. That is in there. 2-2. Red Sox need base runners right now. They need at least 1 more base runner to be able to send the possible tying run to the plate. And many in the crowd here at Yankee Stadium on their feet now with a 2-strike count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled away. Varitek hanging tough.
Yeah, they're setting him up for that cutter in on his hands. They keep going. The last 2 pitches have been the cutter away. The first one just barely off the plate. The last one Varitek fights off. But this is where Rivera then says, all right, even at Yankee Stadium, we've got a 3-run gap here. This is where he runs that cutter in on the hands. He gets a swing and a miss with a broken bat.
And back to the screen again.
Trying to get him to roll over the top of it and maybe get a double play ball right here.
I think that's what he's more interested in, is the ground ball, because no matter what you say, you don't want to face Big Papi unless you have to.
Slump and everything, he's still a presence.
Darn right. And that's what the point you were making when you found out he wasn't playing. He's still a presence.
There's that cutter on the hands, and that's yanked foul. So he is hanging in there against Mariano Rivera. There's nothing that Rivera has that Varitek hasn't seen before many times.
And that's one of the reasons that some of the Red Sox have had some success against him. They've seen him so often.
Now you've got him speeding up on the inside part of the plate. The question is, does he go back away?
Going in. He struck him out. And a big boo for Big Papi as he heads to the plate.
Well, if you're Joe Girardi, this is the way you want to face him. Even though he has struggled, he can only bring you within 1 run with a home run. He can bring Boston within 1 run. That's why it was so important for him to be able to get Varitek out.
8 hits in 24 career at bats against Mariano Rivera for David Ortiz. Runner goes, and that cutter on the hands fouled back and out of play, and Drew will have to go back to first base. Ortiz struck out to end yesterday's game against Robertson of the Yankees, who pitched the 9th inning. And he's had 1 hit in 14 at bats in this series, 1 for his last 24 for the week against 2 contenders in the division. The Rays for 2 and the Yankees. This is game 4. The Yankees are 1 out away from sweeping the 4-game set. And again, Drew runs, and he'll go into second uncontested.
I'm a little bit surprised they're coming inside to Ortiz in this situation. I mean, I know that you've got the 3-run difference, but the ball away, I think it stays in the ballpark. That one in, he's cheating a little bit on that ball in the inner part of the plate, and if you miss and leave it out over the plate, he can hit it out.
And the great RBI man, not even a hit with a runner on base, 22 consecutive at-bats. Now they go away, but off the outside. 2-1.
I think that's one of the things that Rivera has done so well. He's kind of remade himself over the last 3 or 4 years. It was cutter, cutter, cutter. Now he will throw the fastball away. He will throw the 4-seam fastball.
2-1 the count. 3-1. Now Posada's going to go out and speak to Mariano Rivera. Drew led off the inning with a single to right. And those extra 2 runs are very helpful to Rivera and the Yankees at the moment, after those 2 home runs gave them a 1-run lead. And Rivera is very good at holding a 1-run lead too, but that tying run would be at second base at the moment had they not gotten those extra 2 on the single by Nick Swisher. Here's Drew at second. At the knees. 3-2.
Is he taking it?
I think he was looking for that cutter in, and he started over the outside part of the plate and broke it back. No, I definitely think he was looking for something in.
Jacoby Ellsbury would be next. Everybody standing at Yankee Stadium with 2 down in the 9th. And he walked him. Only the 7th walk allowed this year by Rivera in 47 2/3 innings.
Well, he converted 100 out of 104. I mean, just think about that. Since he blew a save in 2007. I mean, that's amazing.
Now a pinch runner as Ortiz will leave, and Woodward goes over to first base to run for Big Papi.
Chris Woodward called up as they put Jed Lowry on the disabled list again.
So Woodward over there at first, and here's Ellsbury. Off the fists, foul. How many times have we seen that on a pitch from Rivera to a left-handed hitter?
Yeah, but the only problem with that, John, he is the tie and run. You make a mistake now, and he just hits a fly ball to right field, it will go out of this ballpark.
That much has not changed here at the new Yankee Stadium. That was the short porch in the old Yankee Stadium, right field.
But it's shorter now because of the wind currents or whatever. It is shorter now.
48,190, the official paid crowd. On the hands, he broke his back. Teixeira will take it. The Yankees have swept a 4-game series from the Red Sox. So the Yankees sweep the table, and they have won 7 in a row, while the Red Sox have now lost 6 in a row. The last 4 for each of those streaks coming right here at Yankee Stadium. And what was a pitcher's duel with 2 excellent left-handed starters turned into a home run derby in the late innings. And the Yankees, it's tough for any ball club to play that kind of a game with them and prevail. The Yankees have a lot of power. The Chevrolet player of the game is a tie. Johnny Damon and Mark Teixeira. Damon homered to tie it. Teixeira homered to put them ahead, and Chevrolet is proud to recognize today's best and tomorrow's future, supporting youth baseball nationwide. And it was Daniel Bard with 2 down and nobody on, and a 1-run lead in the 8th inning against Damon.
And he gets a low fastball, and he hits it over the right field wall, and that tied the ball game again. And that high curveball that
Daniel Bard gave up on his fastball, hung up breaking ball, and Mark Teixeira said, gone, home run, curtain call, and the Yankees win.
The Yankees win.
That's good.
So the Yankees are well ahead And for the Red Sox, the misery continues. They'll be on our Monday night telecast tomorrow from Detroit, and all they have to do tomorrow night is face Edwin Jackson, who's got a 2.62 ERA. That's no way for an offense to try to get healthy. 7 o'clock tomorrow on Monday Night Baseball on ESPN. Final score 5-2. The Yankees complete the sweep of the Red Sox. SportsCenter is next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now for Joe Morgan and Steve Phillips, John Miller from New York. Good night.